Hello and welcome to episode 89 of Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Chasson, and joining me this week, it's the other Spark on the pod, a man who spends his nights roaming the streets dressed like a Japanese schoolboy, and also he plays Persona at the same time. It's Mr. Darren Whittam!
How are you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad, sir. I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, I spend my days and nights roaming about dressed as a Japanese schoolboy.
You've seen him, people of Blackpool/Brighton. You've seen him.
And then when I finished doing that, I get back home and switch Persona 5 on. Hooray!
Yes, have a bit of that. So, how has your week been?
Not bad. What I've been up to? I tried to get hold of a NES Classic.
Oh my goodness! You're on that hunt now, aren't you?
Well, I'm not anymore. I tried.
Right.
I failed. I'm not on it anymore.
Right.
I rang up my shifty shop to no avail.
Right.
You know, PSVR. He was like, "Yeah, no worries, mate." Switch. He was like, "Yeah, man, I can sort you out." But NES Classic. He was like, "Nah, man."
That makes too much on eBay for him. That does.
Yeah, that was like it was beyond the pale. He wasn't going to make that sacrifice. And then I looked around, you know, here and there, and I just thought, flipping out, you cannot get them. I saw that in America, they were getting a last shipment, I think yesterday, which would have been the 25th of April. Mm-hmm. There was one last shipment due to go to Best Buy, and it was hitting the news groups. It was like, oh, one last shipment of them. And I was like, why don't we get a shipment of them in England, one last shipment? It's not fair. But I didn't see a dicky bird about us getting one. So that was a shame. So I came up with nothing on that, but I had a little go. I don't even really want one. I only want one because you can't get one.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite interesting. I was listening to a podcast, and they were saying that it was a podcast that was based in New York, and they were saying that they got wind that the Nintendo store just in Rockefeller had a shipment coming. I think this might have been at the weekend, so they kind of queued, and so it kind of got to this store quite early, and there had people that had been queuing since like 5 a.m, and there was over 100 people in line.
Wow.
But the one thing that kind of really made me annoyed, and one thing that did kind of make me rage as I was listening to it, there was like kind of giving out wristbands to everyone who was like guaranteed one of these NES Minis. And then when they kind of opened the doors, some of the people at the front went in, bought their NES Minis, you know, and their friends that they came with them also all picked up a NES Mini. And then they basically went to the first person without a wristband and went, "Do you want to buy this?" for an inflated price. And I'm just like, it's like, I know there's no way of Nintendo going, okay, are you really going to play this? You know, name me 7 of the games that are on there, you know, and testing how good they are. But it just annoys me that they drum up this scarcity, they make this scarcity, and then people just absolutely exploit it. But one of the things they did say on the very same podcast was that they reckon that the manufacturing of these was actually interfering with the Switch. So it was kind of like, you've only got one factory, you could either make more NES Minis or you can make more Switches. You know, what are you going to make?
Oh my goodness me. Well, I suppose that, you know, the answer to that's obvious, isn't it? We need more Switches, so you know, I can understand if that's the reason. As annoying as it is, but yeah, there's not many NES games I want to play. NES games, NES games. I'm not bothered, but the fact you can't get them makes me want them. And then people reselling just clean up, and it's not right. It's not right at all. So yeah, I can imagine you raging at that.
Well, I had my kind of very Tom William rage. I was like, oh, because it's one of the things that kind of, hey, it's the whole eBay thing, the whole ticket thing, the whole kind of buying for profit. And I understand people just being, you know, quote unquote smart, but it just annoys me because it stops people like you, me, of actually just kind of enjoying it, you know. And I know I said it from last week, but my nephews never came over this weekend due to sickness. So I'm seeing them next weekend, and I'll ask them to see if they're playing it, because otherwise, if that's an unopened NES, they're sitting on a goldmine.
Yeah, they'll probably say, they'll go,
Can't find it.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. It's up in the attic.
Yeah, Dad put it in storage.
Yeah, you know they fucked it. Wearing all these gold chains when you see them.
Superb.
What else did I do? I went trampolining with my little boy, which was which was good fun. I was supposed to watch, but one of the children in the group was under 3. And you had to have a grown-up on the trampolines. So this place is called Ascent, and it's like a big trampoline centre. It's like a big, massive warehouse full of trampolines. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
No, well, it's full of little trampolines, not the massive ones. Well, there's big trampolines, there's little trampolines, but they're basically, for the most part, they're all on one level. And it's like a platform game. You can bounce from one end of the warehouse to the other end of the warehouse. You can bounce across by trampoline. From one trampoline to the next, to the next, to the next. They're all together, just divided by mats over the springs. So it looks like a checkerboard, but all the checks are trampolines. So you could. I haven't been on a trampoline for years. So anyway, I got the. I don't know. I was either the lucky one or I got the short straw, but depending on which way you're going to look at it. So I went on anyway. No one else wanted to go on. I went to this girl's mum. I said, "Do you want to go on?" She went, "No, not really." I said to Claire, "Do you want to go on?" She went, "Not really." I said to the guy's dad, "Do you want to go on?" He went, "Nah."
Oh my God.
So I said, "Oh, I'll go on. I don't mind." So anyway, I went on. And I had to learn how to bounce and stuff, and it was all good fun. And I got my confidence, and I ended up proper bouncing around, man. And I'll tell you something though, I started aching. I'm still aching now. This was on Sunday morning. I'm still aching from it now. I don't think. Oh my God. I don't think, at a certain age you should be bouncing around on a trampoline, but it was really cool. And even though I was totally exhausted, the fun of it makes you carry on. It's pretty good. But I was thinking about poor Mario, because he's always bouncing around, isn't he? And
maybe it's like springy orthopedic shoes.
maybe he must have something, because I thought how old's Mario to be still jumping around? He's 36. Mario is, because he made his debut in Donkey Kong in 1981.
Right.
He was called Jumpman back then. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, in the original Donkey Kong, he was introduced as Jumpman before he got called Mario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I had a little read of this, and there's a story, whether it's an urban legend or not, I don't know, but it's a widely circulated story apparently. And what happened is, during the localization of Donkey Kong in 1981, for the US audience, NOA, Nintendo of America's warehouse landlord, was a guy called Mario Segal, and he confronted the president of Nintendo America, Minoru Arakawa, demanding back rent that was owing for the warehouse. And they had a big argument, but in the end, the Nintendo guys convinced him that they'd pay him, and he was happy, and he went off. And they decided to name Jumpman Mario after that landlord of the warehouse.
I thought you was going to say he chased the landlord up a scaffolding and the landlord was throwing down barrels and...
yeah, he rolled barrels at him and they jumped over and they're like, right, we'll call him Mario. But yeah, I think it's just because he didn't kick him out there and then.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. So yeah, I'm still aching from bouncing around, but it was good fun. The kids, they're just fine. They're just made of rubber children, aren't they? It's rubbish getting older. Because... you don't get any. I tried. The next morning, I got up and I was just like, I was like, my legs, I was like, my torso, man, I can't sit up. And then I was like, my arms. I wasn't even doing much with my arms apart from using a bit of momentum. So yeah, not good. Out of condition, obviously.
Wow.
The other thing, I'm looking forward to this rather than having done it, but I thought I'd mention it in case anyone's in the area. For Game Mania, which is at a place called the Winter Gardens in Blackpool on the 6th and 7th of May.
Oh, right.
So it's good. We have a few gaming exhibitions here, so I'm going to go along to that. It sounds pretty good. There's loads of stuff to do there. They're also, I think it's CEX are going to be there. I don't know if you heard of that shop. And they're giving away an NES Mini. Classic.
Oh, right.
So I'm going to try and win that. I don't know what they're going to do, whether it's competitions or just a random thing, a raffle or something, but they're giving away an NES Mini. I bet when they agreed to that, they didn't know that it was going to stop being made and that it was going to be worth so much. So what have they got there? They've got loads of games, obviously. They've got pinball machines, like Simpsons and Batman Dark Knight, which I'll have a go on in tribute to you, mate. They've got loads of arcades on free play, Street Fighter 2, Golden Axe, Killer Instinct, Double Dragon, all the old ones. I hope they've got Nemesis. I'm gonna have a look for that. They've got retro computers and systems and consoles and stuff. Japanese games. 8 virtual reality units. Don't know what they're going to be, so I'm gonna have a look at that. I've got Game attending as well. I sort of, well, not ours, but the Blackpool Game are going to be there.
Right.
With 4 PSVR units. I'll be interested to see if that's free or not.
Yeah, they'll start charging.
Yeah, so I'll report back on that. They've also going to have a kids zone with Minecraft and Lego Marvel and stuff. So they've got all sorts of different things going on. So I'm looking forward to it. So I just thought I'd mention it because I thought if I mention it now and anyone's in the area and they haven't heard of it, they can have a look, and if they fancy it, they can sort of make the journey down. If I mentioned it next week, by the time this gets aired, I'll have been probably.
Yes, absolutely. So the most important question that's on everyone's lips right now: are you, Claire, and Sam going to cosplay?
Not yet. No. and if we did, what would we cosplay as?
You could be Bowser, Sam could be Baby Bowser, and of course Claire can be Princess Peach.
That's a good one. Yeah. I saw a really good father-daughter one of The Last of Us. I thought that was
weird
really
if you
cool.
go with your wife, dude. It's kind of your wife as your daughter.
No. But I saw
you can play a banjo at the same time.
Take my rocking chair in. No, that was just a comment, mate. That I saw one of these that I went. I thought it was a good one between this guy and his daughter.
You know what you could go as? You could go as Banjo Kazooie.
I think it was his daughter.
Sam could just be on your backpack the entire time as Kazooie, or ukulele, but go as Banjo and Kazooie, and then that'd be so cool.
That would be really cool.
And then Claire could go as Is it Gruntilda?
Yeah.
Yeah. She could green up her face. Oh my god, that would be amazing. They just get Sam to run around going wow, 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 wow.
If only, I'm going to say we haven't got the time to make the costumes.
You know that's not true.
Last year or the year before, I went to one of these sort of conventions. Not this one because I've not been to this one before. But there was a woman. She was dressed as a zombie. Okay, you can sort of tell with all the makeup and stuff, all that sort of rags on her and things, with a keyboard round her neck, sort of suspended so she could type on it. And I was confused as what she was. So I asked her, "Can you guess what she would have been from that description? A zombie with a typewriter or a zombie with a keyboard?"
She was a ghostwriter.
Oh, that's a good one. The Typing of the Dead.
I was going to say that. Damn it!
I sort of gave it away when I said typewriter, didn't I? But I was like, "Yay, that's really cool!" I think it was her and her boyfriend or her husband, both there as zombies with keyboards, and I was like, "Yeah, that's a cool one."
Do you think they both came out of like their like kind of bathroom and bedroom, and they were both dressed as the same, and they're like, "Oh, you're going as the same character."
Oh, we're just so compatible. We had the same thought.
How cute are we?
And I saw a Minecraft family at one of them as well, that was really cute. Sort of little mini creeper toddlers and things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We'll see how it goes.
Sounds cool. Sounds cool.
It's only what is it? For £15 to get in. For an adult and a tenner for a child, or £40 for a family. So nice. It looks good, and I will report back when I've been and let you know how it is. There's some developers and stuff there, so hopefully I'll get chatting with a few interesting people. Never know, might get a guest on the Sparks.
Excellent stuff. Sounds good. Go forth, my fine friend. Go forth.
I will, in the name of us. So, what have you been doing, man?
Well, I mean, two things for me. Two things. One, I have to mention because I've been foolish yet again. Surprise! I've been foolish, and that was my foolish thing this week was I've totally written off the TV program The Goldbergs. Now, this came on E4, and I was just like, no, I'm not interested in that at all. And then I just started watching kind of every now and then the TV would be on, and it started just to make me chuckle and belly laugh. So I've set series links on Sky for season 2, 3, and 4. But I've bought season 1 on Apple TV for like the complete season 1. I just went onto Apple. I was like, yep, I'll have the complete season 1. So we've started watching the Goldbergs from the start, and it's just hilarious, and it's just so funny, and it's kind of it's a throwback to the 80s. So if, like us, you were kind of, I was 10 or
25?
whatever in the 80s. Yeah, I was 80 in the 80s. I was 40 in the 80s. You know, and it's so funny, you know, and it is just, and the reason why I say it's stupid is because I did the exact same thing with the Big Bang Theory. You know, I heard about the Big Bang Theory, and I thought they were taking the mick. I thought they were kind of making a show that was poking fun of my kind, you know, the geeks and the nerds of the world. I thought they were making fun of us rather than an actual comedy kind of based on those. And then I remember kind of going, no, I'm not interested in that. It doesn't look funny at all. And then I saw a part of an episode where Penny gives Sheldon the Leonard Nimoy napkin that was signed by Leonard Nimoy, and I just was like rolling around in stitches going, I have to now watch this program. Luckily that was like season 1, but the Goldbergs, I've let this kind of run for like 4 seasons, and it was just kind of like just catching up, and it is just hilarious. I mean, there's a little kid in it who is the kind of main character, and how he hasn't been nominated or won Emmys, I have no idea, because every time he opens his mouth, I just fall about laughing. You know, it's just genuinely belly laughs. So it's you know, it's kind of one of those ones. Maybe if you haven't checked it out, it's on E4 a lot. You know, in the UK, in the US, you know, I'm sure you'll be able to find it as well in other places. But the Goldbergs it's really worth a try, because it really just made me chuckle so much.
I'll have to have a look for it. See, I like, you know, how you say you missed it for ages, so there's like 4 or 5 seasons. I love that. You know, you find out about a little gem, a little diamond of a series or a show. Yeah. And you missed it for years, and I love it because you don't have to wait. You've just got, it's like you looking forward, and you think, wow, I got 5 seasons or 8 seasons of this that I can just hoover up. I love
Absolutely.
that.
I've got, you know, there's probably 20 episodes per season, so I've probably got like 60 episodes already kind of in the bank.
Wow.
To watch of like that, and it's just so funny. The one I just watched before I came up to pod, it was like Halloween, and the kid who I really like, he came as he went dressed as a Rubik's Cube, because it's based in the 80s, so it's all kind of, you know, it's just like Air Jordans have been kind of, you know, it's just so, it just some a part of it, you know, having an older brother who used to punch me a lot and make me slap myself, you know, there's those kind of things. It really does go strike a few notes in my, you know, my childhood, and like Star Wars is always kind of brought up, and it's just really funny. Like just now in the Halloween special, they went dressed as Ghostbusters, you know, because that new movie Ghostbusters has just come out. It's all that sort of stuff, and it was very funny. It really made me chuckle.
You put me mad at Weird Science then with the Big Brother thing.
Oh yes, absolutely. It kind of has that vibe, but it's really worth a watch. Like I say, it's on E4 in the UK all the time, but worth a watch. So that was kind of one thing that I did, stupid, and then the other thing that really kind of I kind of checked off a bit of a bucket list yesterday, because I went along to Apple. So I got invited for work. I got invited to go along to Apple UK, to go along to their headquarters in London. So I got to go to the motherland. I got to go and ride the elevator, and there was Apple, and I just kind of, you open the door and you're in the reception. It was just a gorgeous, really cool, funky building with a big Apple logo, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'm home, you know. And I went along to Apple UK for an iOS in business conference. So it was a whole day thing. And it was really cool. You know, I was really I was geeking out in a big way. You know, I got like a little, is it lanyard?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I got a lanyard. I got with a little kind of like a badge. I did tweet.
Got a lanyard. It was attached to an iPhone 8. I got given it at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Also opened the doors.
I will say I distracted someone and ran through, you know, and I just got my lanyard with like kind of, you know, my name and the Apple and the Apple symbol, and it was just, you know, it's stupid and nerdy, but that's kind of one. You know, I've still got a couple more to kind of tick off.
Cool.
But
so cool.
It was really cool. It was like I say, just to kind of go there and just to kind of like hang out and have this day where we were talking about kind of, you know, devices and enterprise devices and things like that. It was just really cool. But the kind of breakout area that we had, so we got there and they obviously served coffee and pastries. So I had an apple slice. I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't kind of dusted with a little apple symbol. But you know, I let that one slide. But the room we were in, they had basically all of the latest equipment was there. So there was a Mac Pro, iMacs, all just in a line for you to just kind of have a look at, have a play at, you know, which was just really lovely. And the breakout room was very cool. And then we spent like a whole day 2-day conference, and it was really good. It was, like I say, it was great for my business, for my work, understanding where Apple is, so I can fit that in my portfolio of projects. But also, it was really good. It was kind of better on that kind of geek level. And the guy I went with, he had to kind of put up with me being very excitable all day, but it was great fun.
A starstruck Anthony in our midst.
It really was. I was like, oh my God, I'm in Apple. So yeah, I thought it was really cool. So it was fantastic.
No, that's really good. I mean, this is a bit of the old IT manager in me coming out here getting excited, but it's great that they're doing an iOS in Business conference, because for years they wouldn't really embrace the business side of things, and they were very much, no, we're a consumer product, and it was all about just the consumer, and it was very difficult to sort of blend the Apple devices into a business, especially with the iPhones, because they said they were quite adamant that it was a consumer product, and they weren't really interested in making any applications or software that had bridged the gap between enterprise and their devices. So it was always down to sort of the IT teams to kind of do that, because there was because it was so desirable. The directors instantly wanted iPhones as soon as they came out. So it's sort of the bane of every IT department to try and get them in and make them secure and all the rest of it. And it's just great to hear they're doing that. They're actually bridging that gap now. You know, I mean, they've been slowly doing it for a few years, but
ever since the conference that we had, ever since the iPhone 4/4, ever since the 3GS, 3GS had hooks into Outlook and Exchange, and then ever since iPhone 4, it's been kind of MDMable.
Oh, right, because I didn't think MDM was really working that well on it until sort of 2014-ish, 2013.
No, it's been because he went through.
Which actually is about the time of the iPhone 4. So there you go. Indeed, yeah, that's the era I'm talking about.
Indeed, it was really cool. It was really cool. It was great to just kind of go there, and I tried to take a selfie of the reception, but I was a bit embarrassed because when I got there in the morning, there was kind of no one there, and I should have done it then. But I was a little bit too excited, and then on my way out, there was lots of people, and I wanted to be cool, so I just was like, "Bye, Apple."
You're just blasé about it. Ain't no thing. I'm here all the time.
So whatever. So yeah, I wore my lanyard all the way back to work like a geek.
Have you got it on now? Have you got it on now?
Yeah, I've still got it. So I wore it to bed last night and hugged it.
Oh, brilliant! When
I fell asleep, Nicola just kind of slowly took it off me as I was gently snoring.
Until you woke up in a fury. Get off!
Where is it?
Lanyard, that's better.
Oh, yes. So, anyway, that's enough about me being a nerd. What have you been playing this week, sir?
I've been playing Persona 5 some more.
Awesome.
Mainly. I'm looking on the positive side. I'm thankful that my Joy-Con is still not with me, because it means that I've been able to play Persona 5 a lot more than I would have, I think, had I had my Switch Joy-Con, and I would have been devoting more time to Zelda. So I've been able to devote a lot of time to Persona over the last week. And yeah, you know, I've been talking about this game for a few weeks now, so there's not much extra I can say. But I will say, I'm 30 odd hours in now, just finished the third palace, so the third kind of main story aspect of the game.
Right.
And it just keeps getting better.
Really?
Yeah. I'm at that stage now where I'm humming the soundtrack constantly, singing the songs to myself, and just totally into the style of this game. I just love it. I closed my eyes at night. The other night I closed my eyes and I was seeing red and black and white. I was starting to see the world in red and black and white, shades of Persona. But yeah, it's just fantastic. The story, I feel that the main aspects of the story haven't even presented themselves yet. But at the same time, there's a big threat in this game, and that hasn't manifested yet. Yeah, I'm 30 hours in, and I haven't been going that slowly, you know, because and I'm trying to get through it, you know. But it's just a great game. It's great the way that it mixes between exploring the dungeons, doing the main quests, and exploring your social life in the real world as well. And
right,
the only thing with it now is you've got a set amount of time every day. You can do sort of one action after school or one action in the evening, and you have to think about what to do. You've got to keep.
Right.
You haven't really got to keep your friends sweet, but it helps because you've got your own statistics. You've got an array of stats that you can increase by doing different things. Like if you go to the bathhouse, you'll get extra charm. If you study in the library, you'll get extra knowledge. If you do something brave, you'll get extra guts, etc. So you can decide to do all these different activities. But when you do these activities, time passes. And then when time passes then, and it'll be like, okay, it's evening now. And that'll restrict what you can do in some areas, but open up other things that you can do. So then you'll have another choice of something you can do in the evening. You might want to do some crafting, which will increase your proficiency stat. But as well as doing all your stats, you can also choose to spend time with your friends, which end up being, some of them are in your team of fighters, of phantom thieves. So spending time with them gives you abilities that you can take with you into the dungeons, and they're good against the enemies and getting through the maps in the dungeons. So that's really worthwhile as well. But as the game goes on, it opens up just so many options for you to do. It's like, shall I go and take on the Big Bang Burger Challenge to get some more guts if I can eat the whole burger, which is quite difficult? Do I go to the batting cages and get some proficiency? Or do I spend some time with Anne, because my level's quite low with her, and if I can increase it, I'll probably get an extra ability? Or do I spend some time with the teacher who's actually moonlighting in another job, and we've got a little thing going on because I'm keeping my mouth shut about it and stuff like that? And it's kind of like, just what should I do? And I swear, I'm at the point where I never sort of use a notepad with a game, but I almost feel like I just need to list every activity and every person so that I can tick them off, so I can get an equal spread, because it's just sort of mind-boggling how much there is to do. But I don't think we really get a penalty for not doing one thing or the other,
right?
But it's just the completionist in me, or the fair person in me. I don't know, one of those. I just want to be able to sort of evenly do it across. I don't like to just like spike one aspect of a game. I'd like to evenly bring everything up. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. Another great thing that I noticed is that as your team expands, you can only take 4 people into a dungeon or fight with 4 people at a time. And I was a bit wary of that, because I was thinking, well, I don't really want to use this character, but I don't want them to not level up. But luckily they level up with you, and I was like, oh, thank goodness for that. That just made me happy. So yeah, I'm absolutely really, really liking Persona 5. I can certainly see what all the fuss is about. Didn't I have some information about Persona 5? I'm sure I read a little tidbit about Persona. Oh yeah, it got the EGX Res 2017 Game of the Show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the top game of the show from Res 2017, which I can perfectly agree with. So yeah, I think I saw that news today. So yeah, I've also got, if you're interested, the top 5, which for Res 2017, the top 5 games of the show. Persona 5 was number 1. Number 2, your favourite, Ukulele.
Woohoo! I still haven't gone back to that game.
No, fair enough. Rhyme was next, which I haven't really seen much of. And then Snake Pass, which looks fun, and I think James has been playing, hasn't he? He said that was good. And Little Nightmares.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, I saw Little Nightmares coming. There was a press release about that today, because I think it's due to be released very soon. So I saw that, and that's quite cool.
Yeah, so that's the top 5. But yeah, Persona 5 hit the number 1 spot from the rest, guys. And yeah, it's just really good. I've never played an RPG like it. It makes me think about, a bit like with Yakuza, really. Sort of, I wonder if all the other games are worth replaying. But we'll see. Because I saw some outfits you could get for the characters from previous Personas and previous, is it Shin Megami Tensei games?
Yes.
And I didn't realise, but Shin Megami Tensei is similar to Persona 5. It might be a spin-off of Persona, or Persona's a spin-off from Shin Megami Tensei, and I never realised.
Yeah, I think it's that way, isn't it? That Persona is a spin-off of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. But isn't Shin Megami Tensei a DS-based game? I could be wrong there. I was thinking maybe I'd missed it because it was a DS game, but it just might be because, I don't know, it just passed me by. So I might have to have a look at that anyway and get into some of them if I've got time. Because there's also the fact that, I've, as you know, I played Yakuza 0 as part of my 2017 games of playing games that I wouldn't usually play. And I think you told me that they're redoing Yakuza 1 in the Yakuza 0 engine.
Yes.
So, it's just I'm just playing so many Japanese games at the moment.
That's really good.
2017, I think, is the return of the Japanese game for me, with Yakuza and with this Persona game. And for
Zelda.
you, I was just going to say, and Zelda. After maybe being quiet, maybe a year ago, people, I think we were all just saying, as the sort of the spirit of the East dwindled a little bit, but all it was doing was regrouping, ready to blow us away, wasn't it?
Exactly, like Sony and the first-party studios. Just getting ready to pounce.
Yeah. The other game that I've been playing, and I haven't played enough of it to give a full verdict on yet, because I've been playing so much Persona 5, is a game called The Sexy Brutale.
Ooh.
And this is a game by Tequila Works and Cavalier Game Studios, and it's really cool. How can I explain this? The thing I like about this game is it's very different, and that's nice, especially... well, I mean, all the games that we're playing at the moment are very different, but this is very original, and it's nice. It's kind of a breath of fresh air, it feels. So what do you do? Well, I'll give you a bit of the official blurb, because that might explain it better than me. But set during a single endlessly looping day within the Sexy Brutale, which is a stately English mansion which has been converted into a bizarre casino. Players take on the role of the elderly priest, Lafcadio Boone. Now, to progress through the game, what do you do? Well, you hide, watch, and learn what happens in this casino. There's a ball. You're there on one day. You're there on the Saturday. And what happens over the course of this day, the guests in the casino all get murdered.
Right.
In the most terrible ways. Okay, but it's sort of a cartoony game. So the staff get murdered. The guests get murdered. And it looks like by the staff. I've only seen 3 murders so far. But what happens is right at the start of the game, you're given a mask. Oh, it's like Persona. No, but you're given a mask, which means that it doesn't really explain it, but basically the other people in the whole casino can't see you, but you can watch them. Now you can't be in the same room as them. If you're in the same room as them, the sort of time won't proceed.
Right.
The game sort of pauses. You've got to either hide in a cupboard or get out of the room. Okay. So what you can do is sneak around. You can listen. You can hear if there's footsteps of people coming and stuff like that. And what you do, it's a bit like Cluedo, but in Cluedo you work out who's done it, and in this game it's a bit more like Columbo because you see who's done it. So at the start of the game, you witness the murder happen, and then time rewinds like Groundhog Day. And so you've seen some of the main events. You've got a map. The map remembers who was in what room and when in this mansion. And then what you've got to do is figure out how to save the victim.
Okay. And what is this? Is this like a?
It's a top down.
Top down. Oh right. Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. It's a top down game, sort of kind of a flick screen game, I suppose.
Yes.
Really nice style. So you only see the room that you're in at the time. And the other rooms you can't see until you either walk into them or look through the keyhole. And then if you look through the keyhole, you can spy on the room, and if there's people in the room, you can hear what they're saying and stuff. And then from spying on the people and the guests and the staff in the casino, you build up a picture of how the murder happened, what the murder weapon was, and with that information, then you try and avert it by rewinding time and basically solving that puzzle without the murderer finding out.
Wow, that sounds really cool.
It's really cool. So I put it on. It takes a little bit of getting used to at the start because it's just so different than anything I've played really.
Mm-hmm. And what are you playing it on? Is it like Xbox?
I'm playing it on Xbox. 4? Yeah, I got a code for it actually for Xbox One, but it's out on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. So it's out on the 3 systems, 3 main systems. Not that I'm saying anything bad about Switch. Of course, Switch is a main system as well. So I put it on, and I was like, right, Claire, let's have a go at this. And we sat there and we saw the first murder happen.
And
then we sort of backtracked, rewound time, and the game was giving us a tutorial. This is all like a tutorial, really, this first murder. The game says, right, and say, now we're going to rewind time. And then you start exploring the rooms, hide in the cupboard, you see the guy walking past, and he sort of says, right, I'm going to get that guy. Oh, I know, I think I'll use this weapon. And then off he marches, so he goes out of the room, and then you use the right trigger, I think it is, and the right trigger allows you to listen carefully, and then you see his footsteps. You can see the room you're in, and everything else is like black, but you can see the pitter-patter of little footsteps. You can see the footprints go off into whichever direction. So then we spied through the keyhole in that direction, saw him go into the room after that next room, and sort of followed him.
Right.
Saw what he did, followed the story of how he was going to murder the victim. And then it was a case of, right, okay, and then rewound time, and then looked around the rooms when he wasn't there. And then all of a sudden there was an item that we found, and it was like, because we'd already found the murder weapon, and it was kind of like, this first one's pretty obvious, and it was like, if we use that with that, I think that will do it. And I did that, I made that change, and then the game took over and played out the murder again, but this time the victim was saved.
Wow, that's really cool. It's like reverse Hitman.
yeah, like reverse Hitman. And then when the victim was saved, he gave me a special power, which made me able, in a sort of Metroidvania kind of way, to progress a little bit further to get to the next murder. The next murder was, then this is as far as I've got, but this was awesome, right? So I had the basic premise from the first level.
Yeah.
And I almost felt this was like too much, because it said, now there's 2 victims, and you must save them both. I think it said but they both get murdered at the same time, but they're not in the same rooms.
Right.
And it was like, what? And this was where it began to click, just how cool this game is. So me and Claire sat there, and we just became like super sleuths. And so first of all, we listened out, we saw the footsteps. It involves a little bit of exploring at the start of let's call it a start of a case, really, to find out, for a start, who's going to get murdered. And then, so you see the footsteps, so you just go through rooms, you notice there's some people in the room, so you spy and you listen. And then we saw this I don't want to really spoil it much, but we were watching this couple, that was it. There was a couple in a room, and they started to play the slots or cards.
Right.
And they were starting to enjoy themselves. The wife went off on her own, and the guy said, I'm just going to sit here and play, I think he was playing poker or something. He was like, I'll just stay here, and he was drinking, playing poker, and she went off. So the first time we stayed and watched what happened to him. Then we went and we rewound time, went exactly to that point, except when she went off on her own, we followed her and saw what happened to her, and then this painted the picture of what was happening. And then after that, we were like, wow, well, that's, how the heck are we going to like stop this? And so then we started rewind time again, and started looking around all the rooms around it, looking for items. And then it becomes a little bit, it's not a point and click, but a little bit like a point and click adventure, because you're trying to work out through, by just searching items around the rooms. Like in the rooms, they're sort of, they'll all have points of interest highlighted around the room. So you basically go to each one and you search it, and it'll give you some description, or it'll be an item, or it's a door or a keyhole that you can look through. And I just wish I could tell you about this on the pod, but I'm not going to. But the way that we solved it was just really clever. First of all, we watched the murders, which were quite interesting. And they seemed really unrelated. But when we solved it, it all fell into place. And it was just really cool to watch. And then you just sort of sit back and watch the result of what you've done.
Wow.
And it's really cool. And from what I've read, this just gets better as you go more through it. So I'm going to play it some more, and I'll be able to give you some more insight sort of next week when I played some more. But at the moment, after only doing really the tutorial and the first challenge, which I don't imagine is probably aimed to be that difficult because I did it anyway, it's looking really good and just refreshingly different, sort of a Groundhog Day concept to it. I suppose like Majora's Mask in a way.
Yeah, and it looks really cool. I've just had a quick look at a trailer while you were talking about it, and it's kind of like an isometric view, isn't it, rather than top down? But
Thank you.
It looks absolutely so cool. It looks really good. Oh, I'd love this on the Switch. Is it on the Switch? I should Google it and find out.
There's no reason why it couldn't, because it's no 4K HDR bells and whistles game. It's all about the ingenuity of what's going on in the mansion. It does look. It's got a nice aesthetic to it, but I don't see why it couldn't come out on the Switch. It'd be good fun on the Switch.
Yeah.
But I imagine I was going to say to you, like, I bet you and Nicola would really enjoy it. It's a game you can sit down together and play, because working your way through the mansion, you can just sort of slowly and methodically work your way through together. It's not about that you need to be concentrating, to jump at the right moment or combat or anything like that. It's sort of a slow, steady, methodical ponder 'em up.
I just had a quick Google, and IGN are reporting that it is coming to the Switch. So
fantastic. But yeah, it's really good. So,
but does it lend itself really well to like your big TV, because you want to be able to kind of see all those intricate details? Is it better on a big TV, do you think, rather than like handheld?
Yeah, I mean, if I had it on the Switch, I'd want to play it on the TV, just like I do with. But I want to do that with Zelda. But I don't know. But the thing is, right, when you're playing it on the handheld, you've got it a lot closer to your face.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it'd be okay. We would have to see. It'd be very interesting. So that's my opinion of it so far. It seems really good. Yeah. I'm expecting. It seems promising. I'm expecting more of it. I'm expecting more from it, because I'm imagining that these puzzles are going to get more intricate and the more intricate they get, I'll be stumped. But then I'll be really satisfied when I've worked them out with Lieutenant Claire.
That's just so cool. That's really cool. I like it. I like the way you're playing it as well. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah. I like to, I don't. She's sat there. I don't want us to be bored. So together, we can make a good go of this one. And really, with other games like Horizon Zero Dawn, she can't really help. But this is a game where we can put the pad down and look at the map. And I think when you've got the map on, you can sort of fast forward the time and rewind the time, and anything that you've actually seen will be sort of played out on the map. So you can see the characters, which room they were in, where they went afterwards. And then we start piecing it together. And it's just... I think I need Claire. I think I'll be rubbish on my own in a game like this. So I need to be able to just chat it out.
You need her brains and her savvy.
I do indeed, because I've got neither. But yeah, it's looking good, and I'll, as I say, I'll give you a fuller verdict next week.
Excellent stuff. Superb.
That's it for me. What about you?
Well, I mean, no surprise. I mean, someone has to talk about it this week. I've been playing Zelda. I've been playing Breath of the Wild. I can't put this game down. I just cannot put it down. I mean, I was playing over the weekend. But I guess more importantly, I was playing kind of in a commute, kind of lengthy commute, and I've been playing Zelda. And not because it's the only game, because I started playing like Fast RMX, and I was like, I just want to play Zelda. So I went into Zelda, and I'm still doing all of the shrines. I now want to do all of the shrines. I want to kind of get all of those shrines. But I stumbled across a really cool side quest, and this was a side quest that kind of lasted for a long time as well. It starts with a side quest called From the Ground Up. Now, what this is, and I won't go into spoilers because it's one of those ones where it's really good for it to just unfold in front of you. But it starts in Heiteno Village. So in Heiteno Village, just behind the shrine that you've probably already seen and unlocked, you'll see three guys. You'll see, I think it's Hudson, Grayson, and someone else whose name ends in Son, and that's kind of part of the kind of fun of this. And so you kind of find these guys, and then they start talking about buying houses and doing that. And then what happens is one of them, Hudson, he then goes off, and because he hears that he wants to go and start his own village. And then if you go and meet Hudson, you start upon this quest to build something that's called Terrytown. And just doing that, building this town, is just so much fun. And I did it on like a couple of commutes, and I was just having a blast. You know, you have to go and get this, you have to do fetch this. And it's just so much fun, and I was just like, I really just don't want to put this down. So I was just playing this, and just kind of doing this Terry Town mission that was just really good. And I saw it like from the start all the way through to completion on a commute, and it was absolutely perfect. It was just so good, and it's just such a great little kind of mini game within the game.
Yeah,
it just keeps you there for hours.
I was going to say exactly that. I was going to say it sounds like another one of these, like a game in itself within the game, that you think, right, that's my game now. That's what we're doing in Zelda.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, the shrine quests. I'm trying to unlock the shrine quests and trying to find all the shrines. They're the ones that are just are fantastic. You know, they're just kind of just wandering around doing those. You know, I've resigned myself to the fact that I'm never going to find 900 Koroko seeds. I'm not that kind of that person. Nicola might be. I'm not. But I need to kind of. But the
some guy did it, didn't they? Some guy did it. I think he got a trophy that was like in the shape of a poo.
Really?
For doing it. Yeah, I think they were trying to say it wasn't worth doing. I think that's what the takeaway was from what the trophy was. It's kind of like, why did you do that? But if that's what's considered 100% completion, people are going to do it, aren't they?
They will indeed. They will indeed. I mean, so yeah. I mean, I'm desperate to kind of do all the shrines. I'm really want to kind of grab those because I'm really enjoying the shrine quests. Are just so much fun. I'm doing two at the moment. But they're just really cool, and I just can't put this game down. And it's really kind of, it's a lovely problem to have, but it has actually kind of caused a problem because, and the problem being is that over the weekend, as well as playing Zelda, I thought, right, I've got to stop. I've got to get myself away from Zelda. I can't keep playing it all the time. I want to play something else. And Prey is not out for a couple of weeks, so I want to kind of get something else. So I thought, right, I'm going to crack Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to kind of get through. I want to finish Horizon Zero Dawn. So I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I started playing it at night. I think I sent you a picture of it. I started playing it at night, and I was messing around with my hue lights because the sun was just coming up, and the entire screen on the big TV was red. So I just changed the hue lights behind my TV to match it to be red as well. So I took a picture of the screen and said, like, match that, and it did that, and it was just so cool. I mean, anyone walking past my house would just wonder, what the hell is that big red light coming from?
Red light district in Tunbridge Wells.
Absolutely. We'll be in the Sun or the Daily Mail next. So I had that, and it was really cool. It was really kind of adding. I had my headphones on. It was really adding to the atmospherics of playing that game. But, and this is where Zelda's ruining me, I'm finding myself frustrated with Horizon. I really should have finished Horizon before I started Zelda, because I'm finding myself frustrated because I'm loving this game. It looks incredible, but I can't climb wherever I want to climb. I mean, actually, kind of one of the funny frustrations is my fingers are all over the place because the buttons, every time I want to draw my bow, I'm doing it as if I'm playing Zelda.
Yeah, your muscle memory's all flipped up.
It really is. It's just all Zelda'd. You know, it's just like, I came across, there was some guys, I wanted to fire an arrow at them, so I pressed the wrong button, and that took ages to knock that out. I kept getting annoyed with myself. I was like, come on, Chesson. You know, I'm just you can do better than this, you know, and it's just like, and then but there was one, and this is no spoiler, but there was this one big area that I had to get to a certain point within the map in Horizon Zero Dawn. And so what I did was, there was a big robot dinosaur, so I antagonized that. I killed one of the guys who was quite close to me. I took him out silently, and then I fired a fire arrow at this big dinosaur, and because he started making noise and everybody came running. So the entire area where I had to get around, just basically, they all came running to see what was up with this dinosaur. And you suddenly saw all the blips on the map, all just kind of heading to where this dinosaur was going crazy. So I was like, awesome. So I ran around the back, and then I thought, right, I'll just jump up there, run along there, and then I'll get to where I need to be. Unfortunately, I can't jump up there. I can't run along there because the game won't allow me to climb.
Yeah.
And I can only climb when there's a white ledge. And suddenly I was just like, no, damn this game mechanic, because
what was acceptable before all of a sudden just feels really awful.
It really does. And then
primitive.
For somehow I managed to stupidly jump my way out of this big area that's kind of fenced off. It's the big steel circle, they call it in the game. And I somehow managed to kind of jump glitch my way out, and then I couldn't get back in. So I had to restart from a save because I couldn't get back in because there was nowhere for me to get back in. So I then had to, and it was almost like, this game's just saying I've got to go from A to B to do, and I was just like, wow. And also because I'm so used to playing Zelda, I think Horizon Zero Dawn, and I wanted to ask you, Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm spending a lot of my time stealthily.
Yeah, I did too.
And the moment I tried to go all guns blazing, first of all, I don't have my stasis to kind of slow, but I'm like, where's all my special runes? I don't have a bomb, but the moment I kind of go, right, I'm going to take all you guys out, it's game over for me, and I die. Or I find myself running really far away. And I just find that it's really interesting. I know they're two different games, but the openness and the ability to attack a group of enemies in Zelda in so many different ways, like rolling a bomb down or picking up something and dropping it on them, or just different ways, is so easy in Zelda, but complicated in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah. I think before Zelda, Zero Dawn was praised for being quite open and giving you quite a few different options with the different tools and traps, because you could go around a place as long as you didn't get seen and place all these traps, tripwires and things, and you could take them down with rope, the rope caster and stuff like that. So you could plan your strategy, and you could put little traps around an area, and then, I don't know, say, fire an arrow into the distance to lure them into a trap, etc., to start your gambit. And that was very much praised and sort of like, this is really good. This is giving people a lot of choice. Obviously, then you go to Zelda, and all of a sudden the breadth of choice in Horizon doesn't seem so wide, does it?
No, it really doesn't, and I think my strategy, I don't know what you think about this. Now, my strategy is, I'm playing another game, which I'll get to in a moment, but my strategy is that, I've got Mario Kart comes out on Friday, and I can't wait. I've just bought myself a SDXC card, a memory card, because, I read today that the load times are quicker if from digital. There was one of the websites that I follow on Twitter, they had digital to physical to Wii U, and the times just basically were like 9 seconds, 13 seconds, 15 seconds for a load. Okay. So I was like, right, and it's only 11 gig. So it's 11 gig Mario Kart. Right. So kind of well worth a kind of download it onto your hard drive, because you'll always need it. So I've got Mario Kart coming out, but my plan is that I play Prey. Now, I'm very interested in Prey. It looks very interesting. It looks very cool. And I'm very interested, and I really want to play Prey. So my thing is I stop playing Zelda and only play Zelda on commutes. And then I play Prey to distance myself from Zelda. A first-person shoot-'em-up, cleanse my palate, play Prey, and then go back to Horizon Zero Dawn. What do you think?
The only thing I'd say is that the break... This will be the second break you've taken from Horizon Zero Dawn. I think every break you take will...
every move I make.
Every move you make...
Sony's watching me. No,
it will sort of... It will... I don't think it will help you. I think it will detract from your immersion from Zero Dawn. And you'll just be in another Witcher position where you may as well start again.
Yeah, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. That's my pain, and that's what I was saying to Nicola, because she was like, "What is up with you?" I'm sitting there with the headphones on, playing it on the little TV, and I'm like, "Because what's up with you? What,
were you chuntering about? I don't like this. It's not Zelda."
I can't. I'm like, you stupid game, you stupid Justin. And I'm just like, I'm getting for the very first time. She said, I've never seen you frustrated playing a game. Apart from obviously when I couldn't cook properly and overcooked. But I never seen you frustrated with a game, and I said, it's just because my brain and my hands and my coordination is just all Zelda'd.
Yeah, just shelve it then.
Yeah.
Shelve it, forget about it, wait till there's no games, if that ever happens again in the summer, and then just pick it up again. Yeah, I think that's what you need to do, because at the moment Zelda's just too fresh. You're still playing Zelda as well. There's that mixture of the controls, which is annoying. I think I told you when I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, I was doing The Witcher 3 was so embedded in me that I started pressing the wrong buttons in Horizon, because on some level within me, it reminded me of The Witcher. It must have done, and I was pressing all the wrong buttons. I think it was triangle to jump or something. Then I had the same thing with Zelda, and the buttons got mixed up again. But I'd finished Horizon Zero Dawn at that point, so I only had to change to Zelda, and that was it. So
right.
I think I've sort of just about learned now. But swapping from one to the other, I think, would do my head in. So,
and you're probably right. I'm not doing myself any favours by kind of still playing Zelda, which is ruining my Horizon Zero Dawn play.
Yeah, so I think carry on playing Zelda because it's fantastic.
It's amazing.
Shelve Zero Dawn for a while. Enjoy some of the other stuff out there that's different, that's not open world. Everything's open world, but but it isn't like Zelda or Horizon Zero Dawn. So Sexy Brutal, you could have a go at that would be a nice palate cleanser.
I've got a game I'm playing right now that's amazing, but I'll get to it in a moment. I mean, it's really funny. I was on the PlayStation Store last night, and I was very tempted to buy Shadow of Mordor, which I've never played. You've raved about.
Oh yeah, it's good. That
is on the PlayStation at the moment, and that's optimized for the PS4 Pro. That got a really big bump. That's supposed to look really nice. And at the moment, it's like $12.99 in the UK. It's got like 64% off at the moment. So I was very tempted, but I was like, no, I'll just probably be annoyed at that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that, as brilliant as that would be to buy and for you to enjoy, and I'd love you to enjoy it and talk to me about it. Well, you probably wouldn't because of what I'm about to say. It's not going to be a contrast. It's not going to, it's probably going to give you all this same hang-ups that you've got at the moment.
So so I think I would like to say Prey is first person shoot 'em up. So that's going to be completely different. There's going to be, it's a different mechanic, it's a different mindset, and my brain will kind of click into that. So at one point I was going to play BioShock Infinite at the weekend just to kind of like change it up, to kind of because I haven't got the any of the achievements for the remastered one, so I was very tempted to maybe kind of play that, but I was just kept plugging away at Horizon Zero Dawn. But I think I'm right. I'll shelve it. I'll close it down. Like I say, I'm playing another game, and Prey comes out in a week and change, and I've got Mario Kart as well, and I'm sure that's going to be a big one in our house. So there's it's just really interesting. It was quite nice to kind of hear your take on it as well.
Yeah, I know that. Like I know you've completed Zelda. But you're not finished with Zelda, are you? That's the thing. So the completion in Zelda, it seems to be inconsequential. Certainly in this case, in your case here, and I'm hoping that it will be for me. But I'm not planning on ever completing it, I don't think.
One tip that I did find out over the weekend, because I have seen it. I watched a spoiler cast about Zelda because I just wanted to see if there were maybe something that I'd missed. And one of the things that Nicola just kind of shook her head at me, and she was like, "Why would you do that?" But I didn't get all of the memories. So before I went to the castle and before I faced Calamity Gammon, I didn't unlock all the memories. Now, if you unlock all of the memories before you take on that final boss, you actually get a different ending.
The good ending.
Yeah,
a better ending.
So that's really good for me because then that's
Is it a bad ending if you don't do that?
No, I think it's an ending, but there's extra if you kind of get all of the memories.
I mean, that's quite a task.
Well, it's not really. There's not that many. And I'll put a link in the show notes, I found a really good map. It's a website called zeldamaps.com. So zeldamaps.com /game=BOTW is a really cool interactive map. And you can basically just select shrines, fairies, towers, villages, whatever, and it just pops them in the map. And now the great thing about this, as opposed to maybe IGNs or whatever, is that once you've done a shrine or a memory, you can actually tick it, you can touch it and say completed, and it goes grey. So then you know which ones you've got. This is a fantastic website. I found it today.
Wow. So that works on your tablet then?
It works on my iPad. I'm looking at it right now. It works on my iPad, so I can say,
and it remembers. Can you shut the page? Does it have an account or something to remember your map?
No, I think it must be cookies.
Okay, so you want to save that? You want to keep that cookie then?
Yeah. So it's just like, so I never clear out my history anyway, so it's fine. So it's just like, so I can go to memories. So one of the things that it got is memories. I can click on memories, and then I can just click on one. Everyone's been to that one in the castle. I can click on that, and then just say click on the tick, and that's it. And then it just goes.
Beautiful. That's something that
puts a nice yellow tick next to it. I'm going to shut the page down. Let me just shut that page down.
Don't. It might all disappear.
it's okay. I just did one. Look at this live, so I'm going to go back, and then there's going to be live disappointment. I'm going to go back, and then click on that. And welcome to Zelda. Yeah, okay, close. Memories.
And somehow, closing the map wiped the Switch's save for Zelda.
It's connected. Oh my god. Oh, that tick is still there, so it's working lovely on my iPad. So that is just really cool. So it's a great way to kind of... so I'm going to get shrines, memories, and do that. So that's really cool. I'll put a link to that map in our show notes.
That's something I do... Not yet. I wouldn't do it until I've completed the game the first time.
Yes.
But then that's brilliant because it just opens up so much replay. But what I was going to say was... You clearly haven't finished with Zelda.
No.
And so I think you're going to have to avoid games that are similar until... And you'll know when that time has come, or maybe it'll never come, but I'd imagine it will. Zelda will have run its course with you at some point, but it hasn't yet. And there's no need to rush it, and just enjoy it. And that's a beautiful thing. But while Zelda's number one, and while it hasn't run its course, nothing can compare, can it? So
no.
You're just going to have to enjoy Zelda until that time when I think you'll be there one day and you'll realise, hopefully, otherwise the game will last forever and we'll have to stop what have you been playing this week? But
what
one
have
day,
you been playing apart from Zelda this week is what we'll start calling this section.
Yeah. And one day it'll be sort of like you'll finish a go and you'll just be like, wow, I think I'm done with it. And and that'll be that. And who knows when that would be? But at that point, you'll be sort of more open to the other experiences. And Zelda will perhaps be a point of reference for critique rather than just being a massive annoyance like it is at the moment.
And then the DLC will come out and I'll start all over again.
Yeah, and you'll be like, well, DLC's better.
Well, I can't wait to play that DLC. That's kind of one of the things where I'm still I'm saving all my fish, I'm saving all of this, just because I think, whatever is going to happen in that DLC, I might need to be tooled up. So I need to make sure I'm keeping, some of my swords or some of my arrows, or, it's just really interesting where I kind of have one eye on the DLC already. So it's just, back to kind of that story that I was saying about the Terry Town. One little hint I will give everyone is you pick up a lot of wood when you're kind of going around, and I got to a point where I had so much wood. I had 100 wood, and I was like, I've never used this ever. I've started a fire every now and then because, as you know, you can hold some flint, hold a piece of wood, and fire an arrow at it. And it will make a fire. So you can then, if you need to wait or if you need to get warm or anything like that, then you can do it that way. But I had 100 wood.
I was hit it with a sword.
Oh, right. I had 100 wood, could not do anything. I was never really doing anything. So I sold them for it was 2 rupees per one. I was like, I don't care. It's just taking up a slot. And of course, Terry Town, because I'm building a town, needs lots of wood. So that's probably why it took me longer, because I had to go and get about 100 pieces of wood again. So it was really good fun, and I really enjoyed it. So that was just kind of, and one thing I noticed as well, and I just keep saying this stuff. One thing I noticed was I was in a snowy area and I was shivering, and then I equipped my my fire sword. I have a sword that's just a flame. It's really awesome, and when I did that, suddenly I was warm enough.
Because
I equipped my sword again, and then suddenly I started shaking again, and I was just like, I love this game so much.
I wonder if that I don't think I've got one of them, but I had my warm doublet on, but I went up somewhere and I started losing health because of the cold, even though I had that on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, obviously I've got the warm doublet, maybe I need the warmer doublet, I don't know.
Or make yourself an elixir with chilies.
Yeah, but there was no cooking pot anywhere, and I hadn't done that. I was like, what should I do? So that I wonder if that would be warm enough for such a climate.
Maybe.
I'll explore.
It was really cool. It was just, I was like, and another one was, when I was on the train, there's this shrine that needs you to kind of wait for the sun to come round and hold an ice block up. And there was a couple of snowballs, and one of them I just kind of dropped, and as I dropped, it started rolling down the hill, and it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Oh, cool.
And the other one I melted because I pulled out my my flame sword, and it just melted in front of me. It was like, and that was it. It was gone. I was like, how did they test this game? How did they test all these different permutations of this game?
Wow, that's incredible. I feel like I haven't even started it. It's bizarre. I feel like I'm so much at the tip of the iceberg with that game. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good. Tip of the iceberg, which you can also melt using fire arrows. So that's kind of Zelda and Horizon. Thank you very much for helping with that. I'm going to take your advice on that. And then the last game that I've been playing came out yesterday. I fired it up and I've played a good couple of hours of it. And that's the new game from Giant Sparrow. So from the people behind Dark Swan, Black Swan,
the White Swan.
What
was it called?
The Swan Game.
Swan Game.
I've just totally blanked when I was kind of talking about it. Anyway, it's called What Remains of Edith Finch.
Unfinished Swan, I think it was.
Unfinished Swan, thank you very much. Yeah, that was it, because the boy's mum didn't finish that swan picture.
That's right.
I love that game so much. Anyway, so Giant Sparrow, they've come out with their latest game, and this is a game called What Remains of Edith Finch. And this is a amazingly weird, awesome game. That's kind of all I can kind of say. It's a game that's very much kind of follows Gone Home. It's something very similar to that, where you are gorgeously stylized, looks amazing on it, and this is PlayStation 4 exclusive at the moment. So you play the role of Edith Finch, and Edith Finch is returning to her house as a 17-year-old, and she left some 7 years ago when something happened in the house. The house was just basically left and boarded up, and what you're basically doing is you're trying to uncover what happened in the house. So there's something very sinister there. And what happens is you go into the house. This game would have been amazing, by the way, in VR. Sony missed a beat here, because this would have been perfect in VR, because it's nice and slow. You play the game in a kind of very nice kind of walking around. Like I say, it's Gone Home meets Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. You know, it's one of those games that I am adoring. It meets Firewatch, you know. And even what I like is, as you were kind of, as Edith, as she was walking up to the house, she starts to talk and the text appears on the screen. And at one point, it appeared just before the gate. She goes, "Oh, the gate is locked." And it came up, "The gate is locked," in yellow. And as you open the gate, it just pushes all the text away. It's so stylized and just so gorgeous. So you then walk up and she's like, her mum, her whole family has passed away, apart from her, and that's what we're trying to find out. And her mum has left her a key. And so you try and it plays out that the suspense is there right from the start. And this is probably because I played Resident Evil. So the suspense is there. It's like, I'll just have a look through the letterbox. I'm like, someone's going to jump. So you look through the letterbox and you can see the house and is just as it was left so many years ago. And then you start, as you get into the house, every now and then you'll see these little white dots, and you go over and you interact with those dots. And it tells you a little bit more, and things play out in maybe a diary, or you see a picture and she starts talking about it. But then what happens is, as you start to explore the house, you get to a room, and the room is locked and sealed. And when you look in, you can look, and then there's a peephole in the room, and you look in the room, and the room is perfectly intact of the day that family member passed away. And then you start playing through stuff, through like a story, or when you start reading the diary, you find out how that family member passed away. And it's just the first story that just unfolded in front of me, and I will not spoil this game ever. It's kind of like any of these games, you just don't want to kind of say. But the first story, when I finished it, I put my controller down and I was like, what the hell was that? and in an amazing way. And I was like, what the hell? What am I playing? This game is amazing. So it then just spurred me on to play the next one. And if I hadn't been in kind of like out of the house for the last couple of days and I was a little bit tired, I would have continued playing into the early hours of the morning, because this game has just hooked me. I tried to finish work on time today, so I could maybe have 45 minutes before we podded, but that never happened. But I just want to go and play. I want to explore more. I want to find out about the other family members, because when you unlock a story or you find out about a family member, the book opens that Edith has, and she draws that member of the family on the family tree. So, and you're just kind of inching forward through this story, and it's just amazing. It's all from first person view, and like I say, it's so methodical and slow, and just really handles really well, that this would have been a lovely VR game.
Yeah, it just sounds like they missed a trick there. It's bizarre.
It really is, and it's out on PS. It's out on, like I say, it's PS4 console exclusive to PS4, but it's also out on PC and Mac as well. But this is it's amazing. I will not spoil it anymore but this game is. I'll put a link to it. I think there's a couple of like story trailers, but the style of it, Giant Sparrow, the developer kudos that you have there, all of that just plays so well. This is a beautiful story driven walk 'em up.
Fantastic. So is this up there with Rapture, Firewatch?
Oh yes, this is up there with Gone Home. This is up there, with Firewatch. It most 100%. The feeling that I got from playing this, was the same that I got when I played Firewatch and Gone Home and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I love these games. So much so that we actually had last night. We had a new the latest episode for Walking Dead season 3 from Telltale came out, and I just downloaded that on my Xbox. I was like, no, I can't. I want to play this. I have to play this. And it's
high
really
praise. Cool. You snubbed a Walking Dead for it. That's all I need to hear.
Snubbed a Telltale game for this. Yes.
Wow. Awesome. It sounds fantastic.
It's amazing. I think it was about $12.99 on the PlayStation Store. The reason why I'm a bit kind of phasey is because I actually got £10 credit added to my PlayStation Store through some digital, because I bought Horizon Zero Dawn digitally. There was some thing that was happening that if you bought digital games up until the end of March, that they would credit you back some cash, and they credited me back £10. So I ended up buying this amazing game for like £2. I feel like I should buy it again somewhere because it's just so good, and I didn't give them enough money because it's just really good.
Brilliant. I think it's $15.99 on PS4. I'm not sure what it is on PC. I think it might be a couple of quid cheaper, as is usually the trend, but I'm not sure.
I think the reason why it's $12.99 is because before it came out, there was a PlayStation Plus discount.
I see. It's nice, isn't it, though, that we're getting a few little games are getting through now, a few more games that perhaps aren't these AAA blockbusters that we've been waiting for months and months. They're popping their head through the Zeldas, through the Horizon Zero Dawn. We're getting things like, you're playing Edith Finch now. I'm getting to grips with Sexy Brutale. So we're getting a little bit of breathing space with all these massive blockbusters that we've been having up since, February?
Yes, absolutely. It's really nice that you, like you say, you just get these little kind of idea Xbox indie titles on the PlayStation. It's great. And I absolutely just, I cannot stop playing this game.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll have to have a look at it.
Yeah, no, definitely check it out. You'll absolutely love it. So let's start the news section. Time for a bit of news. And in this week's news section, we have those free games from May on both Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus. They've aligned again. We have an amazingly awesome expansion for Forza Horizon 3. And also, we've already talked about it, but what do you do after Zelda? But the first piece of news, I guess, Daz, you can kind of take the first one.
Okay, so Call of Duty World War II trailer just dropped.
Breaking news.
Yeah, man. So we both watched it.
Yes.
What do you think? It looks amazing. It's like all the cliches. It looks amazing.
It looks so
as usual.
It looks so good, and that was all gameplay footage. They said the in-game engine, obviously, which could mean obviously some of those things are tarted up, but every now and then they broke into kind of in-game footage, didn't they?
Yeah, it looked very nice to me. It seems to take a more serious and somber note, as you'd probably expect with a World War II game. Took me back to Call of Duty 2.
Yes.
It made me feel
World at War even as well.
Yeah. Those days where I spoke about this at length before on the podcast, but a little bit more poignant. A little bit more poignance to the shooty, and I quite liked that. And I just thought, wow, this reminds me, because I got Call of Duty 2 with my 360 when I first got it. I think it was the first game I fired up on that beast, and I was just amazed. And this just made me think. I started to feel like I felt when I played that game from watching the trailer, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. I'd love to play that game sort of remastered with today's technology, but this is going to be hopefully a bit of a nod to those games, but hopefully so much more. And it's certainly the trailer, as it's intended to do, certainly made me think that it could be. And I was just like, oh man, this looks just so good. Really, really good. People are speculating it's sort of a bit like a bit inspired by the sort of Band of Brothers thing, isn't it?
Yes, it definitely showed there was lots of different guys being shown. I think there was a shot of about 5 guys, just kind of burgers. No, there was a shot of 5 guys walking down, and then throughout the trailer they did kind of show each of their faces. You just got my joke, didn't you? And then they showed their faces. And so yeah, absolutely, it does really feel kind of like very Band of Brothers-y.
Yeah, which I'm all up for a bit of emotional gaming. I love it. I love it. I love it when games make you think past just brainless mowing down millions of people. So
I'd love it to be co-op.
Single player campaign co-op.
Yeah, I'd love to have a bit of campaign co-op. I thought that would be like a really cool touch.
Yeah, it would be very nice. There'd be no reason that they can't do it. I wouldn't have thought. Split screen might be pushing it.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm more kind of online. That'd be fantastic. My brothers as well. I sent my brothers a link to the trailer. I was like, check this out, because they're both kind of like, one of my brothers is in the army, and the other they're both war nerds, So well, that's really funny actually. One of my brothers, he kind of drives a tank, and then he likes to play World of Tanks. I always find that really bizarre.
That is weird. He sort of stops driving his tank, and he comes home and he's like, I just need to do something different. I just need to get over driving that tank all day. I'll just stick World of Tanks on.
That's like me doing doing my job and then coming home playing a program management sim.
Yeah, program manager 2017. Yeah,
I guess that's what Zelda was. But anyway, not Zelda. Viva Pinata. But so anyway, so what did we learn from the trailer? Well, we learned that it's coming out on the 3rd of November.
Yeah, if you pre-order, you get access to the private beta.
Yes, that's going to happen in the summer. They did say that the private beta is going to launch first on PS4. So PlayStation have got that Call of Duty exclusive again this year. There's also going to be a
private beta is one of the characters in the game, isn't he?
That was better than my burger joke. So there's going to be a social hub in the game called the Headquarters, and the report that I saw on Eurogamer, they were saying it looks very similar to like Destiny's Tower, where you go back and you kind of like check in, you get new missions and things like that. So that would actually be quite cool. What they did show in the trailer was a beach landing. So I'm thinking, is it Omaha Beach, or I know there's a Chris Nolan Dunkirk is coming out this year, so maybe there's a bit of a tie-in. But we've definitely got a beach landing, which always looks a bit daunting.
Yeah, I just thought it was the Normandy landing again.
So that would be weird. And then also co-op zombie mode has been confirmed as well, because they said the Third Reich is trying to create an army, was in the trailer. So we've got zombies as well, zombies seem to be a staple now, don't they, with Call of Duty?
Yeah, it's a tradition, isn't it? So, that Third Reich, they're always creating zombie armies.
Indeed. It's a bit blasé now. Here comes another load of zombies.
Yeah, they need to build an army of something else.
So this is, and we know that this has been done. This has all been developed by Sledgehammer Games, who are the team behind 2014's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. So it's in good hands, and I'm looking forward to this. This is, I know I play the Call of Duty campaigns every year. Last year was a little bit bonkers, and I just played through it. But I'm looking forward to this. I am super stoked.
Yeah, me too. Looking forward to this. I'm looking more forward to this one than any. I haven't been bothered about any of them since sort of Modern Warfare.
Right.
But this one's got my attention again. So yeah, it's looking good, and let's hope that it is good. I suppose we'll see a bit more at E3.
Yeah, we'll see a lot more at E3. They'll probably show proper gameplay. But the one thing that left me when I finished watching the trailer, because it just looked so stunningly gorgeous, was Call of Duty and Project Scorpio. What a hand in hand those two will go.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. The 3rd of November you said for this, didn't you?
Yes.
That could be imagine that. Scorpio comes out 3rd of November as well. Call of Duty pack. Play Call of Duty World War II in 4K, 60 frames per second, etc. Only on Scorpio. That'd be a coup.
Yeah, there you go. PlayStation gets all of the DLC first, but it looks shinier on Project Scorpio.
Interesting.
Better frame rate, better. But obviously we're going to have with we've got our PlayStation 4 Pros. So what does that do? Oh, it's going to be an interesting time come November. We'll be looking at frame rates and checkerboarding, and we won't. Digital Foundry will, but
we'll be reading that.
Yes.
But it should be no contest. That Scorpio trounced PS4 Pro every time. So any multi-platforms should. Well, from what we've heard, they should always be better on Scorpio. So that'd be my machine for playing everything on, and it'd be exclusives on the Pro.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately may probably mean that I'll be on the Pro most of the time.
Yes, yeah, indeed.
Well, we'll see, because I think Microsoft need to bring out exclusives at E3. There's gonna have to be some Microsoft Stardust scattered at E3 to bring people over to the Scorpio. And just to stop people going over to the PlayStation so much, because as we know, there's been so many exclusives that Sony have just had to themselves, and it's been quite quiet over in Microsoftville. But I'm sure that there must be a reason for that, and as we know, Scorpio's coming and E3's coming, so I just think that's the calm before the storm.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I can't wait for E3. It's going to be a good one this year.
Yeah. Every year's good.
Every year's good, but this one's going to be a good one. This is kind of the peak of my
best.
interest. Yeah, because like you say, Microsoft are quiet, but there's a lot of activity. I kind of follow Phil Spencer and Major Nelson and AC Bongos on Twitter. And they are constantly going, "Oh, we've just gone over. Oh, we just had a group. We're just talking about this. We're just doing this." So there's lots of activity happening. The more so than any of the kind of Sony guys that I follow. So there seems to be a lot of activity, or maybe Sony are just keeping it close to their chest. But there's a lot of activity happening. Phil Spencer was actually over in Tricross. He was up at Rare this week, so maybe kind of checking out Sea of Thieves and other games, maybe.
Maybe discussing some top secret stuff with the guys at Rare.
Viva Pinata 3. So it's like,
that was the reason he flew over.
Yeah, you know, I will go absolutely bonkers if that happens.
I know. I promise if it happens, I'll give it a good fair go as well, because I've never played one.
Wow.
But yeah, you think it's with Microsoft, they're quiet, like we said, but they've learned a lot of lessons from the Xbox One that we've seen that they've learned them, because they completely turned around what they started, the path they started off on. They've become, as we've talked many times about, they're sort of the warm, cuddly, social guys in the console scene. Sony are quite quiet and standoffish, but they're very engaging socially. Microsoft, they're very committed to the community, and they got loads of money. They've got so much cash, in Microsoft. If Microsoft's behind them, I just can't see how they could fail. And they've released this Scorpio specs, which sound amazing. There's just one last piece of the puzzle, isn't there? The games. And that's what E3's for. So I'm optimistic that, like you say, it's going to be an exciting E3. I'm trying to temper myself here, but I'm expecting to be blown away by Microsoft's announcements, because if I'm not, it just doesn't make sense why they've been quiet for so long. So I think it's just going to be like boom, and me and you are just going to be like, whoa.
Well, exactly. I mean, they can't come out on stage and talk about Cuphead anymore, because they just need to release that. That game just needs to be released. So there's got to be more ID at Xbox titles.
That's why they built the Scorpio, because Cuphead needed that power.
That hand-drawn animation needed that extra power. But there's got to be, what I'm saying is, I think there's only Below, and Cuphead are the kind of two ID at Xbox titles that we haven't got. So there's got to be, and I always love that part of the showcase where they go and, they kind of run through, and the same on PlayStation as well, when they talk about the indies and Nintendo with their nindies, I just love that section. So I want to be blown away there. That's kind of the one that, when that starts, it's like, when they start talking about that, that's when you do sit forward and go, okay, give us these titles that are going to be amazing. Give us the Edith Finchers of next year or later this year. So I'm just, I can't wait to see some Forza, some Halo, but I also, same as you, I am some Sea of Thieves, but the same as you, I want new stuff. I want some new stuff to kind of blow us away, because you and I, last year, we were totally blown away by Recore. We were totally blown away by that Dragon game, Scalebound. Yeah, we were like, this is amazing. Both of those were just incredible. So it was those highs. Obviously, they never turned out that well for those games, but those highs of just kind of showing that's kind of what I love from E3.
Yeah,
it's just so cool.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and they need to do it this year. And I'm sure they're going to. Can't wait.
Excellent stuff. So that's Call of Duty. Is going to be E3. We'll probably see more gameplay. Probably at Sony's conference. They still haven't announced when that's going to be yet. So which is quite interesting. Now that they have a lot more time to kind of do it, they could do it kind of early morning on the Monday if they wanted to. They could take Microsoft's slot because Microsoft are on the Sunday.
Yeah. We'll find out.
We will indeed. A month
they can't
and change
keep it from us forever.
A month and change to go. So Daz, next piece of news, sir, is with you.
Yeah, so this is about what's being spent on what in gaming. Well, should we have a look at some statistics, Anthony?
You love a good stat.
Oh, don't we all, eh? So, the Entertainment Software Association has released its annual report, and this has got lots of statistics about what's being spent 2015 to 2016. Now, these days, we've got data going back to 2011. And the data that we've got shows that video games are gaining over $1 billion a year in spending.
Wow.
Which is not a small amount, is it? And that's just for games or content.
Is this worldwide or?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, as far as I know. So it's not consoles. It's just software, just content. So spending was an all-time high according to this report in 2016, which is the last year we've got full data for, gaining $1.2 billion on 2015. So wow, I'm actually not sure if this is in dollars or not. I'm presuming it's in dollars.
Right.
It doesn't say on the chart on my infographic from Forbes.com.
Well, it's probably going to be because Forbes is a US, so it's
probably dollars. So let's just say dollars. So. Let's have a look. It's the United States. This is spending in the United States, not worldwide. This is US. Okay, so in 2010, the annual video game spend in the US in 2010 was $17.17.5 billion.
Wow.
And then, 2011, I mean, in 2010 it was massive. I think when I joined Ubisoft in like 2001, they were talking then about the games industry had just sort of reached the pinnacle where it was worth more than the music and movie industry combined.
Wow.
And that was way back then. But I don't know. I'm just saying that was what I was told. I don't know if it was true at the time. And I don't know if it still holds water because I'm not sure what the music and the movie industry are worth now. And I'm not going to look it up. But 2011, there wasn't much of a change. 17.6 billion. Then we went to 2012, 18.9 billion. 2013, 20.2 billion. 2014, 21.4 billion. 2015, 23.2 billion. And then we come to last year, 2016, where the annual spend on video games in the US was $24.5 billion. My goodness me. So from in 6 years, it's gone up for $7 billion. Wow. So it's gone up more than $1 billion a year, like I just said. What did people spend money on? On accessories in 2015, $2.1 billion was spent on accessories in 2015 and $2.2 billion was spent on accessories in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm loving this infographic.
It's good, isn't it?
Have you clicked on the full link, the full report?
No.
There is a full ESA. There's so much. That's why I've just gone quiet, because I'm reading. It's amazing. I'll put a link to the full for this. It's like how many US households own a device. 97% of the US households own a personal computer, where 48% own a digital console.
Wow. I can't even find the full link.
It's right at the bottom. And the really interesting thing is, who are gamers playing with? 41% play with their friends, 21% play with family members, 18% play with parents, and only 17% play with their spouse.
I'm not surprised. I don't know many couples, apart from like sort of us two, that play games together. Most people I meet, their wives can't be doing with it.
Right.
Or girlfriends can't be doing with it. So, yeah, wow. 90% of parents are present when their child acquires a video game. That's fair enough. It's just that probably 100% of parents are not bothered what game the kid buys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not 100%, because I'd be bothered. Yeah, loads of good stats.
There's some really good stuff. This is really good. We'll stick a link to this in the show notes. That's really cool. There was one here that was saying about the demographic, which was about... Oh, I love this. I love stats and infographics. I should do more of this at work because it would keep me really happy. There was one about kind of that... I've lost it now. But no, it was really good. It was about the differences between kind of male and female kind of gamers, and then you kind of just think, the gaming industry needs to do more to get girls gaming.
Right. Yeah, I've got one here. Who is buying the video games? 2015. Mm-hmm. The average video game buyer was 38 years old. 40% male, 40% female, and 60% male.
Right.
That was in 2015. It changed a little bit. Fewer female gamers in 2016. 2016, the average buyer age was 36, and it was 37% female to 63 male.
Right.
So the male gender increased in 2016. Here we go. How people buy. This is interesting. This is physical versus digital. So in 2010, physical format, even in 2010, 31% was physical and 69% was digital.
Wow.
Now, that is interesting.
That's really interesting. Was that the rise of the PC or something?
Was it the rise of the iPhone?
Oh, yeah, because that's included as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just games, isn't it? So, yeah, a bit more difficult if we're talking about sort of consoles and stuff. But then that went to... Where's my bit of information gone? So then if we jump to 2016, physical format 74%, digital format 26%.
Interesting.
So it's switched. It's switched. If this infographic's right, I would have expected it to be the other way round.
Yeah, I'd expect a lot more digital to.
That's really odd, isn't it? Because like what we expect. That doesn't necessarily mean it's true. But yeah, it says here in 2010, physical was 31%, digital 69%, and then we'll jump all the way to 2016. Physical 74%, digital 26%.
That's really interesting. And you can tell why people kind of went crazy when Microsoft announced an always-on Xbox One way back when. If that's the break between physical and digital, that's why they're doing it, because a lot of people, they still wanted to be able to buy their physical games rather than digital. See,
yeah, they're shiny discs.
I'm in my own little echo chamber where I just like I say, I just bought myself a memory card because Mario Kart's coming out. Zelda on my Switch is I gave Nicola my physical copy, so I've got a digital, so I'm fully digital on that, and that's just where I look. Edith Finch, Wipeout, all those games that I've just kind of bought, pre-ordered, just to kind of sit on and wait on my hard drive, and that's the way I am, and but it's not the same for everybody else, and you can see why the likes of Amazon and will continue to sell.
Yeah, that's really got me confused, that, because why video game stores in the US, like is it Best Buy, we reported on closing hundreds of shops down because of a downturn in revenue, if physical purchases have actually increased year on year since 2010 from 31% to 74%.
That's probably because Amazon got the lion's share.
Right, so it's right. Okay, so they're buying physical, but they're buying online rather than going to bricks and mortar shops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, unless they count ordering online as a digital.
That's really interesting. I will put a link to both that page and that full report as well, because if like us, you can tell we just kind of drink in this stuff and get lost in infographics, then there's a link there in the show notes for you.
Yeah, and there's loads, and as Anthony discovered at the bottom of there. Is that the one you put in the big one?
Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah. That's just fantastic.
That's just infographic porn. That is.
I just kept sailing off. I was just like, oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, we're just like, well, we'll just pause the podcast for a bit. But anyway, next piece of news is with me, and this is free games. It's all about the free games for May. So we have free games for Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus. Let's start with Xbox Live. So Xbox Live in May, we've got some good titles coming. So we've got Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams, the director's cut. So that's coming from the 1st of May to the 31st of May on Xbox One.
I always said Gianna Sisters.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. That from my Amiga days.
That could be, yep. Twisted Dreams is coming. So that's the 1st to the 31st of May. We also have, and it's a shame this isn't from the 1st because this could be good fun, is Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. And that is coming out from the 16th of May to the 15th of June. So that's that kind of, I think it's 4-player. It was out on PS Plus, wasn't it?
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah. It's good though.
It's really good. So it's that kind of isometric 4-player Lara Croft game. So it's good fun, especially if you can get 4 people playing.
Good fun.
So that's kind of our Xbox One games. And then over on Xbox 360, of course, available on Xbox One via backwards compatibility, we have Star Wars Force Unleashed 2. Which is quite interesting because last month when we had this run through, we actually said Force Unleashed was kind of there. We were like, I wish this was 2 because 2 was the better one. and lo and behold, they listened, they heard us. Phil said, okay, we'll give them what they want. And we got Force Unleashed 2 is coming from the 1st of May all the way through to the 15th of May.
Cool.
And then rounding out the game that got me back into the Lego games, or maybe it might have been the first Lego game, it's Lego Star Wars, The Complete Saga, on Xbox 360 and Xbox One, and that's from the 16th of May to the 31st of May.
Wow. I'm sure I've got that somewhere. But I just download it because I can't be bothered to look for it.
Yes, that's the good thing about these. You just go in, bag them, buy them, and then they're just available, aren't they? And if one day you want to play Star Wars Complete Saga, you can just kind of just ping it and download it, and you're good to go. Yeah,
the other day I noticed something cool. I went to the game to download it. I didn't really want to download it, but I thought, I'll just download it so I've got it and then delete it. Instead, it gave me an extra option, add to library. And I just added it to the library, but didn't have to download it. But it said it'll be there banked. And I was like, classic.
That is superb. And why doesn't it do that by default?
I don't know.
Just add, because if you're a PlayStation, and Games with Gold or an Xbox Live member, they should just add those to. That's just such a great idea.
Well, I've looked for it since, and I've not seen it. I couldn't find it again. So I was expecting when I told you that, you would go, yeah, that's just normal.
No. That was always that. I was always thinking about putting forward that in feedback.xbox.com that automatically these free games just automatically kind of bag them for everyone.
Yeah, you should just add to library. I mean, it was on the actual game itself.
Obviously,
instead of having to download it, add to library.
Don't download it because we know what happened when Apple did that with that U2 album. Everybody went nutso when they with the free iOS update. They kind of downloaded a U2 album. Everyone went crazy, and I was like, just delete it from your iPhone. U2 aren't that bad. They were better. They were better in the 80s, 90s, but they're not that bad. And everyone just was like, I want to be able to choose. And I was like, but just bagging it to your library would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, not bad. It's not bad. It's a good. We've got. There's a game that I haven't played. I'm very close to 100,000 gamer score, so I'm always looking for a game that will just kind of tip me over that edge. I'm kind of close. I've got less than 1,000 to go. So I think I've actually got about 700 gamer score to go. So I'm getting closer. So something like that. Some of those might be able to tip me over the edge a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a solid enough 4 games that, innit, for part of your subscription. It's certainly not rubbish. But it's not stellar. It's just good.
Just good. A 7 out of 10 for Microsoft, but
a strong 7.
Absolutely. And then kind of being very much the stellar lineup, I think for May is PlayStation Plus. They are going to be looking sharp this month because we have got Tales from the Borderlands, the Telltale game Tales from the Borderlands, the complete Tales from the Borderlands on PlayStation 4 will be available. So these are all going to be available probably around they're normally available from about the 6th of May. It's normally like like the first Tuesday in May.
Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't given a date, but it's normally like the first Tuesday in May, which will be the 2nd. So it'll either be the 2nd or the 9th. So anyway, we have Tales from the Borderlands is coming to PlayStation Plus. I urge anyone to play this game. It is hilarious. It's funny. Even if you don't like or haven't played the Borderlands game, this was a great Telltale game. This was really good. This is up there with The Wolf Among Us, Tales from Borderlands, Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, this is up there with those. This is absolutely fantastic.
This was the first of the classics, wasn't it? Really, this was the one that everyone was like, "Wow, that's the best." When it came out, I think it was the best one.
Yes. Obviously, Walking Dead Season 1 was that kind of one that made everybody kind of wake up to this genre and to Telltale. But Tales from the Borderlands, because that was out at the same time as Walking Dead Season 2 and Game of Thrones, but everybody was going just crazy for Tales of Borderlands, myself included. You know, I couldn't wait for a new episode to drop. So if you haven't played it, then you're in for some and you're a PS Plus member, you're in for a treat, because Tales from Borderlands is coming in May. Also, on PlayStation 4, we have Abzu. So Abzu is from one of the creators or one of the designers from Journey. And this is very much kind of it's kind of badged as an underwater journey, I think. Have you played it, Daz?
I haven't. I was quite interested in it, but just a little extra snippet of information regarding Abzu. I've seen an update from Eurogamer that said they've said this evening that Abzu is only available in North America.
Oh,
there's been a bit of a switcheroo. North America's getting Abzu, which does look really beautiful. But I never got around to playing it. But looking at it now makes me annoyed about what I'm saying. But if America's getting Abzu, we're going to get Alienation from Housemarque.
Oh no, I think I've already bought that.
Have you? I've never played that, and I love Housemarque games, but I never got around to it. So that would be one I'd be very interested in, as I pretty much love Housemarque games. I love Resogun. So I'd be really interested to see Alienation.
Excellent stuff.
Maybe it's whetting the appetite for a Nex Machina that they've got in development at the moment. That's probably going to be released pretty soon.
Yeah, so that's cool. So it's either going to be Abzu or Alienation. And then on PlayStation 3, we have something called Blood Knights, Port Royale, Pirates and Merchants. Both of those are on PlayStation 3. And then we have Laser Disco Defenders on PlayStation Vita with cross-buy for PlayStation 4. And Typewriter, again for Vita, but with cross-buy on PS4. So there's, I think, those top 2/3 games are absolutely stellar.
Yeah, that's really good, and maybe it makes up for a few subpar months. I always make it my business to check out the games, the ones that I've not heard of, because you never know, there might be a gem, like Broforce.
Yeah.
But last month at Anthony, it was really bottom of the barrel. I was playing these games, I just like, crikey, this is like some Game Jam stuff that just spat out at me. So, in fact, I played Game Jam games that have been very good, so that actually didn't fit. But yeah, it was a nasty old mixture. Some ninja game. Did you play? Oh, it was dire.
No, I really didn't. And the other one I didn't even start playing was Drawn to Death. I've heard so many bad things about it.
I started it, and I deleted it within 5 minutes.
Wow.
I didn't like it. I quite like the style. But I didn't like the game.
Oh, the other one was 10 Second Ninja X, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes. I tried to like it, and it just didn't. It's a good idea, though. It's a good idea, that. But I don't know. I just kind of thought, flipping it, it's just not good. Drawn to Death, though, it's kind of. I think there's been a bit of money spent there on developing that game.
It's David Jaffe, isn't it? It's David Jaffe who's done that.
Yeah, like director of God of War, isn't he?
Yeah. So I've just had a look on the PlayStation EU blog, and you're right. It looks like in the EU we are getting Alienation and Tales from the Borderlands, and in the US, North America, you're going to get Abzu.
Does that make you sad?
It does, because I really wanted to play Abzu.
Well, yeah, because you just said you've already bought Alienation. What a nightmare.
Exactly.
I don't own Alienation. I don't really know much about it, so I know it's by Housemarque, so I'm kind of interested. But Abzu does look quite beautiful, so You know, maybe they'll just swap it around on a future month.
Yes,
it'll be vice versa, won't it?
Absolutely. But there you go. I mean, I think PlayStation kind of just edge forward on that one. With Tales from Borderlands, if it would just been that, they don't need anything else. It would be interesting to maybe start seeing some VR games. Maybe they'll save that for E3 to say, like, you know, the PS Plus is now going to include a VR game. I think they need kind of maybe there's lots of experiences available on the PlayStation Store. I had a quick look through at the weekend when I was kind of looking for something to get me off of Zelda, and there was just nothing that really grabbed my attention. Do
you think it'd have to be in addition, though? Because if it was replacing one of the games, everybody that didn't have a PSVR would be crying out, wouldn't they?
Well, just stop doing PlayStation 3 games. Stop doing PlayStation 3 games. You know, it's time to embrace PlayStation 4, and maybe do one PS3, do a Vita, one PSVR, one PlayStation 3, and then 2 PlayStation 4, and that covers everything, and everyone should be happy then.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, there's a lot of little experiences they could just give out there to the PSVR loyal. You know, it'd be a nice gesture, as you say, and maybe they'll do something like that. I always love it, and I know you do too, where they say, "Yep." So imagine that they'd be like, "Yeah, and from now on, PS Plus is going to include a VR game, and if you go to the store right now." And we all go, yay! And at the end, as soon as the conference is over, it's like, let's get that. Brilliant. Love it.
Yes, absolutely. Headmasters, get something like Headmasters. You know, there's games you maybe played in the demo you just want more of. You know, they could really just kind of drop some of those and make everybody happy.
Yeah, they could even split apart that sort of demo disc, you know, and just, instead of giving the whole compendium away, they could just have the Shark experience on its own 1 month. Or the heist, that's it, isn't it? The heist on its own. Yeah, the London
heist, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the luge board 1 month, you know. They must have peaked on the sales of those, so... Yeah,
there's almost a million PlayStation VRs out there, isn't there? So, you know, they have there's an audience. I know that it's like 45... It's the
biggest VR install base, isn't it?
Well, exactly. So I know it's 45 to 1, but, you know, there's 1 in 45 is going to pick up that PlayStation VR title, and it might make other people go, well, actually, do you know what? I've bagged 5 PlayStation VR games. Maybe I'll have a look and pick it up.
Yeah, maybe. Here's hoping.
There you go. Right, so that's the 3 games. Next piece of news, so is with you.
It is. So what's this one? It's Cliffy B. He's out there again in the wilderness with the concept of the AA game.
So, okay, clever.
Yeah, you like this. So he's on stage at Dubrovnik's Reboot Develop 2017, and he said basically that AAA games cost too much to make. He said they're getting out of hand, and expectation is just pushing it further. Okay, so he's saying it's a nearly unsustainable model. And he says the reason for that is that basically the consumers can only afford to pay $60 or so a few times a year for most people. And a lot of people have been burned by DLC. And games being released with a load of bugs and stuff like that, so they're sort of a bit reluctant to part with the cash more than they may have been a few years ago when it was more of a solid area. And he says that due to the graphics on games like Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff, players' expectations are very high for graphics, polish, and overall quality, which I think is safe to say they are, aren't they? You know, we expect. Historically, you always expect better and better, don't you? You know, Horizon Zero Dawn is sort of the new pinnacle of technical prowess on a console. So we're kind of waiting for or expecting that something even better will come along. Maybe not tomorrow, but certainly, you know, there'll be something out there that's as amazing or more than that. You know, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, for instance. So he said that basically a game like Horizon Zero Dawn developed over a 7-year period. He said that because Sony can do that because their main focus is to sell PlayStations, the consoles, the hardware, rather than just the copies of the game. And he gives the example that Take-Two couldn't afford to do it. So BioShock Infinite caused them to have to lay off the staff because they didn't have the hardware to concentrate on. They weren't sort of subsidising the hardware with the software or vice versa. Do you know what I mean? They were just software only.
Yes.
So concentrating all that budget into a game when you haven't got the backup of owning the hardware platform is very difficult, and it's caused Irrational Games to lose staff, and we see it all the time, don't we? Big studios go bust.
Mm-hmm.
So he's proposed the idea of the AA game. So he said a AA game would be like Rocket League, for instance, where they're nicely polished, and as you'd expect, but they concentrate on one aspect. So like where Rocket League has got great production values and looks really great, it's just multiplayer. So it's it's a great playable experience, but it's not trying to, have a campaign and all this other stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you've got your idea and you concentrate on a smaller idea and make that really well, rather than letting it sort of maybe get out of hand, if out of hand's the right word, or rather than letting your vision grow to an expanse that makes it cost so much that you inevitably can't afford it. So, and then obviously he suggested that his game Lawbreakers was exactly that.
Exactly. Do you know what? As you were talking,
it's an agenda, isn't it?
I was just Googling Cliffy B to find out what game he was touting.
Don't do that to me. But yeah, I was actually going to skip the whole bit about his game because I sort of like. I quite like the term of a AA game when talking about something like, say, Edith Finch, or like he said, Rocket League, or even maybe Sexy Brutale would fit that category. Do you know what I mean? And I quite like that idea. So he says like a AAA game would be nearly unsustainable, but you could say a AA game is a really good quality game, but your expectations wouldn't be for 16 quintillion universes, things like that.
But it's quite interesting because, love him or hate him, Cliffy B, when he was talking about Lawbreakers, originally, when it was a big thing and everyone was okay with it, this was a free-to-play game where you could buy skins, and now it's a pay-to-play game because that's the kind of genre du jour right now. And I'm never going to say that ever again. But that, because that just sounds so pretentious and poncy.
Genre du jour. About as pretentious as the AA cons.
I'm just going to put my elbow patches and my monocle on. But it just sounds like, you know what? I was sitting there thinking, he's right. We don't need to just have indies and these AAA big 60s. There is something in the middle. But then it
doesn't all have to be.
So my new game fits exactly into this.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? Because you're right. It doesn't always have to be Horizon Zero Dawn or Manic Miner. That's not the choice, is it? And there are these beautiful games in the middle. I don't know if it'll catch on. I quite like the AA title. But yeah, it's quite funny that it's like, but talking of AAs, that's exactly what my game is.
Yes, Lawbreakers.
You won't go wrong back in Lawbreakers. Thank you very much. Ka-ching.
If you could just leave your wallet at the door.
And we won't go bust because we are very conscious of not letting our expectations go wild. It's the AA business plan.
But you're totally right, and he's totally right. There is that kind of, because there is a bit of a stigma sometimes. There used to be, not so much now, but there was there, and it's like you have these $15.99 titles such as Edith Finch and stuff, but then you do have that $29.99. And when it looks like a AAA game, and they go, "How much is it?" Oh, $29.99. You do go, "Oh, it can't be that good." It's like a 7 out of 10. That's a really good game. And this is why I don't like reviews anymore. But like 7 out of 10 is a good game. But people are like, "Oh, I only got 7 out of 10. I'm not going to play it," because we look at those monetary or number values next to that game, and we cast aspersions. So rather than actually going to see if that game kind of fits and we like it, we kind of look at that review score, we look at that price. But they're right, there is that £29, that $29.99 game that would be, that's where a lot of studios now, because he's right, they can't all afford to make those AAA titles. So
yeah, like Recore would have fitted in the AA, I would have said.
There you go. Recore is a perfect AA game. Ukulele is a perfect AA game. It's polished.
Transformers.
from Platinum.
Yes, Turtles, that sort of stuff. But when that
leave Turtles out of it.
but when Transformers came out, people were like, well, it's $29.99. And what we should be doing is rejoicing that there is that middle ground.
Variety.
That it doesn't cost us £50-60, and then add the season pass on top of that and blah-de-blah-de-blah.
Or it just doesn't get made.
Yeah.
Because, it's just, we can't afford that, so it just doesn't get made. Instead, you can get, like, this middle tier ground of a game for $29.99. There could maybe, he's saying that a game could have the same production values as a AAA, but would be multiplayer only, a la Lawbreakers, or maybe just a quick campaign, but not as much. Say your AAA campaign was 12 to 14 hours, maybe they'd bring a AA for £25, and it was 6-7 hour campaign, but was really, had all that production value in there, but it's a shorter experience, but, you're charged accordingly. You still have a good story in 6 hours or 4 hours, whatever, as long as the pacing's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I am, like I say, I'm 100% on board in this, because I just think it's definitely something where we should be able to enjoy that middle tier, and not kind of feel like we're getting some kind of cheap knockoff.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a good idea. I do get you were scanning it straight away, that basically the whole pitch came around of how he could sell Lawbreakers, but I still quite like the idea of a AA.
It's kind of like when those people come to your door and they start saying, you really like this, don't you? And I'm like, yes, and you agree with that, and you're like, yes, and then they're like, well, can you give us £20 a month to that? And you're like, oh, damn it. But by that time you've been nodding so much that you have to say yes.
Yeah, you just you can't get out of it. He's backed you into a corner.
Exactly. So that's what Cliffy B does. Right at the end, he's like, so if you could just leave your account details at the door, then thank you very much.
So that's the end of the Cliffy B business seminar. Over to you, mate.
That's just so cool. And for me, a very quick one, but I'm a big comic book nerd, so I thought I'd mention it, and that was that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite got a new trailer this week, got a story trailer this week, and of course I'm going to stick a link in the show notes, because it was blinking awesome. This had the trailer kind of putting the story to this beat 'em up, had Ultron from the Marvel universe and Sigma, who I believe is from the Mega Man universe on the Capcom side, joining. They actually joined in the trailer to give us Ultra Sigma. Who came up with this? We got Ultron Sigma.
Wasn't Cliffy, was it?
Yeah, exactly. A fusion of these two, and it just looks absolutely superb. So the trailer shows bit of story, shows some fantastic graphics. I just wish, part of me was just sitting there watching it, kind of manga-eyed at it, going, I love this game. But the problem is like when you do flip to gameplay, it's not as good as the CG. I was like, surely the consoles are good enough now to give us this CG quality 3D Street Fighter EX kind of beat 'em up game. That's
because this is a AA. That's your AAA expectation going wild.
Oh wow! It's like Cliffy B just schooled me.
That's it. Your textbook. We both are.
See, so they kind of went through and they showed us some of the characters that we kind of saw in the roster. Obviously, Ultron, Hulk was there, Thor, Hawkeye, Rocket Raccoon, of course, from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Cool.
I'm going to see that on Saturday. Can't wait. Chun-Li, Strider, and Chris Redfield.
Strider? Strider,
yes.
Who are you?
Strider Hero, yes.
Hero.
He's in it as well. And Chris Redfield, great bit in the trailer where Ultron's there and he's like, yeah, and he's just dealt with like Captain America, and then suddenly someone shoots a gun and it was just hits him on the back, and it was Chris Redfield. He's like, Chris Redfield, like this, and it's just like, there's Chris Redfield. So that's really cool. So you can pre-order it now if you want on you can pre-order it now. But they also showed a limited deluxe edition, and this has a 2017 character pass, but it also had, and I wasn't sure, it has, Nicola would kill me if I bought this, but it has 4 characters. So it has Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Mega Man X, and Chun-Li in these kind of really good statues, and I'm always been after a good Iron Man statue for Christmas. I keep leaving hints but never get one. So it's a really good kind of it's really cool, and they all kind of interlock together, these characters. And then also with this deluxe edition, which I think is somewhere like $199, is a replica of all the Power Stones. So all the Infinite Stones, which we're going to kind of see more of next year in the Marvel, probably this year in Marvel as well. So there's a replica of all the Infinity Stones, the orange, yellow, purple, green, blue, red. They're all there as well. I'll stick a link to this. I'll put the picture of it in the show notes because it's just awesome. But I really liked it. It was very cool.
Oh, wow. Is that the most... I don't mean to say ridiculous, but in other people's perception, the most ridiculous thing that you've wanted that's cost a fair bit of money?
Yes.
Game-wise, I mean.
Yes. I mean, I was like, I want this game. I want to play this game. I can't wait to play this game. And then when it got to the end and they were like, a limited edition special, I was like, oh, figures. Because, as I pod here in the Tunbridge Wells studio, of Lost Spark Tunbridge Wells studio, I've got a really cool cabinet that's full of the Katabayuki figures, which I've got like Boba Fett and droids from Star Wars, Darth Vader, Stormtroopers, and they look just so good. And I do... Nicola has said, Nicola's bought all of those for me kind of in Christmas and birthdays, so she does pick the premium kind of nice figures, because she said that if I have to have these figures in my house, I'm going to have decent ones, but they are really nice, there is a Katabayuki Iron Man figure, like I say, that I have been leaving hints for, so maybe this year, but yeah, they would look really cool in my cabinet on one of the shelves. But yeah,
oh, wow.
I think it is. I mean, we don't have to ask what your one is.
Why? What is mine?
How's your Pip-Boy?
Oh, yeah. There was... I actually bought that. I thought it was going to be better than what it was. The worst thing that I've ever wanted but haven't got is, well, apart from an Ares Gainsborough figure, because I've never seen a model of Ares from Final Fantasy VII. I've seen the other characters. I've actually got... Tifa in front of me now, but I've never seen an Ares one. Wow. And she was my favourite character. But I once saw a Final Fantasy VII Ares Gainsborough music box limited edition.
Wow!
And it's as a limited edition, as I just said, it's all this beautiful wood, and then you're opening it up, and it plays Ares theme, which is my favourite piece of music from Final Fantasy VII, and it's all intricate, with all the little chimes and stuff. And it was like, I don't know, 500 quid. And I showed Claire and I went, look at this. She went, not bad. And I was kind of like, oh, never mind. And ever since, every few years I'll sort of longingly have a look at the internet to see if I can find it. You can't buy them anymore.
Wow.
And I bet it, I say to Claire, I bet it's worth loads now. It doesn't matter though. It's like water off a duck's back. It doesn't make her regret forbidding the business case. There wasn't really a business case for it. It was just like, look at that, it's good. I really want it because I think Ares is fantastic. Didn't go down that well.
Is Ares the flower girl?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, some people are Ares. I think that the true pronunciation is Erith. I don't know. There's some controversy. I don't think I've ever decided to actually read up on the truth of it. But yeah, she's the flower girl in the pink.
Right.
Who I'll reacquaint myself with, hopefully, in the remake of Final Fantasy VII, due Christmas this year. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Anyway.
No Hope and Bob Hope. And they're also characters in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Why not add them to the roster? And that's why the budget got out of hand.
Because it got Bob Hope. Right, next piece of news is with you.
It is. And yeah, we mentioned it, or you mentioned it in the intro to the news section. But what to do after Breath of the Wild? I mean, you're stuck with things to do apart from Zelda.
Yes.
During Breath of the Wild. I don't know if we're going to have any help for you, Anthony, but maybe this will help you. Do you remember that before Breath of the Wild got released, in that time when you could accept the constraints of the average open world game, and Nintendo showed off some of the lack of constraints and the options within Zelda by using sort of a 2D mock-up that looked very much like the original Zelda?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, a fan decided that was so cool that he's decided to make a full game.
What?
Based on that conceptualization, if you like. So it's based on Breath of the Wild, but it looks like the original Zelda. Top-down, pixel graphics, 8-bit era, NES era.
Wow.
And it looks really cool. And it's called Zelda Breath of the NES.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's brilliant, man. It's by a guy called Winter Drake.
And in this game, you can cut down trees, harvest food, shoot arrows, use physics, and even the korok leaf to kill enemies. There's some really nice effects on the visuals, even though they look simple. Mm-hmm. There's some really nice sort of shading and stuff going on with it. Winter, the dev, says he doesn't feel the need to be bound to Breath of the Wild's exact structure. For example, one of the original items in the game is a Bioki berry, which the game tells you is poisonous to humans. However, if you drop a Bioki berry near some Octoroks, they'll flock to it, ignoring everything else, allowing you to trap them, kill them, or sneak by. He's got a lot of plans for the original features in the game, and he really wants to capture the spirit of Breath of the Wild and the NES Zelda. But he's not going to try and be perfectly faithful to the game. But you can pick up the game, and I'll put a link in the show notes on itch.io, and it's the Breath of the NES demo, free to download on PC. You won't need a powerful machine to have a look at it. And even if you can't download it, like I think you're on a Mac sometimes, Anthony, but you can still go to the site and look at the clips that he's put there of the game, and it just looks very charming.
That's so cool. Let's put it's really. I'm just looking at the YouTube trailer now. I like that you can chop down trees. That's really cool.
It looks really good. It's sort of therapeutic
nice style to it, hasn't it? It's almost like it's like fuzzy felt kind of thing. It's really lovely.
It's just really cute, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
He's already at version 1.3. Right. Looks like he's working on it quite a lot, giving updates out there. And yeah, I think I haven't played this demo yet, but I think I'm going to download it and have a look at it. And it's just a nice work of love from a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But get it quick, because it'll probably get shut down soon enough.
But yeah, before Nintendo shut him down.
It was there on the 26th of April. That was time of podding. It was there when we spoke about it.
Honestly, it was there. No, I'm looking at it now and it looks really cool. It looks really good. I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. So, it was a bit of a distraction. You can go and chop trees down in Zelda Breath of the... Legend of Zelda Breath of the NES. And I don't know what the weapon degradation's like. Maybe it's a bit easier in that.
I like the rolling logs to take out enemies as well. That's really quite cool.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you see what they can do now when we're emulating the past. And I just wonder if it could have been possible to make stuff like that in the past. No. Without the inspiration of the past to inspire the future, to, if you know what I mean. I'm getting myself in a time continuum warp here.
That's incredibly meta. I mean, I must admit, I've been very tempted by Wonder Boy. You know, the new Wonder Boy game, and that it's kind of like similar to any of these.
The Dragon's Trap.
Yeah, so it's like it's similar to any of those kind of. Re-images or remastered where you can one button press takes you back to how it used to look, and
I love that.
And I love that. I did that on Halo. There was oh god, what was that game? The kind of point and click adventure, Tales of Monkey Island.
Yeah,
and even Tales of Monkey. Was it Tales of Monkey Island where you could actually it would take you back to the old music as well.
I think so.
So when you went back, and then you could choose if you wanted new graphics, old music, or new music and old graphics. So they could and it was just like it's just such a, as you say, I think the right words. They're kind of such a labour of love for any of those platforms or games.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
I really like this. This is really cool. I wonder if it'll run on my Mac. My Mac's quite.
Of course, it will.
I've got a MacBook Pro. I could try and run it on that. It's quite powerful.
As long as the executables for Mac. Did it have a Mac option?
I don't know. I haven't looked. I've just clicked on the Kotaku link that you put in the show notes. So I will take a look. Okay. I will take a look after the show.
Yeah.
And then the last piece of news is with me, and this got me super excited today. This was out of absolutely nowhere. Income Racing. Forza Horizon 3's brand new expansion, which is only a week and change away. It's going to drop on May the 9th, which is a Tuesday. So that's not this coming Tuesday, it's following Tuesday. It's a Forza Horizon 3 expansion, which is Hot Wheels. It's Hot Wheels. So it's not just the cars. The entire map. It looks like there's going to be another island, another area, but the entire map is like a Hot Wheels set. So there's orange track all over the place. The trailer has nighttime and there's a dinosaur. There's like a T-Rex. This just looks incredible. And I didn't know it was coming. There'd been no rumours or anything like that. And then suddenly, already a game that has given me way too much pleasure and way too much time suddenly drops a brand new expansion, and this is going to include brand new cars. There's a whole set of Hot Wheels classic cars that are coming as well. I think I was too old for Hot Wheels, but this is just like, there's like Hot Wheels Twin Mill, Hot Wheels Bone Shaker, Rip Rod, Ford Mustang, a Jeep, a Zenovo STI, a Pagano Zonda. It just keeps going, and it's just so cool. So this is Forza Horizon 3 Hot Wheels. It's an official thing, so it's officially endorsed by Hot Wheels, and this comes on May the 8th on Xbox One and Windows 10 obviously, and it's available as part of the Forza Horizon expansion pass. So if you bought that expansion pass, which I did, it's going to be free, or it's a standalone purchase which is going to be $19.99. I can't find, as a time of potting, I couldn't find a UK price, but that you roughly probably going to be about $15.99.
Cool.
But have you seen this trailer? How cool does the trailer look?
I got your message and I sort of squeezed seeing the trailer in before we podcasted, and I was just like, wow, look at the track, look at the speed, look at the dinosaur.
It just looks so good. I'm watching it again now as I'm talking. I just absolutely love it. I've watched it kind of a couple of times, and it is just absolutely superb. Again, We Are Playground, Playground Games, We Are Playground on Twitter. You've just you've smashed it again.
It's funny because I think we asked the question. It's like Forza is kind of they kind of done it to themselves. They've made it so good. Where could they go from here?
Yes,
obviously we didn't realise that you could just make it Hot Wheels, and that was the answer.
This reminds me of
because it was too real.
Trackmania Turbo, doesn't it? But in a really good real Forza engine.
It looks really modular, so it's sort of crying out to have a track builder there. I don't know if it has. It doesn't say anything on the trailer, I don't think.
No.
But that would be a fantastic addition. I don't know if that's really in the nature of the Forza game, so I don't know if it would happen. But even if there's not, there's so many loops. It's like Hot Wheels Wipeout, man. It
really is. There's one bit in the trailer where there's a kind of a cross section, and there's lots of cars, and they all just kind of just destroy each other on that cross section. But it just looks so good. There's a little bit off road. It then goes back onto the track. The track is looping on itself. There's jumps, and it just looks so incredible. It's really funny. At the weekend again, when I was flip flopping around trying to find that game to play, I fired up Forza just for a quick go. And I was like, I miss playing Forza. And now I can go straight back. I can play back again. So I kind of think that there's going to be some Lost Spark car meetups again. Similar to the one we done previously for Blizzard Mountain. I think we should do it again for this one, because this is just going to be so much fun.
I think definitely. This is the thing, man. It's like I couldn't think what they could do to sort of to make people part with their money, because the game, the box standard game's so good. The Blizzard Mountain is amazing.
Yes.
It's like, where do you go from there? And just to give it that sort of fantasy twist, that Hot Wheels twist, it's just genius.
It really is. There's some jumps.
It's fantastic.
There's fire jumps. There's also 28 new achievements, which racks up 500 gamer score.
There you go. Wow, that must have taken a while to go through the Microsoft red tape, I imagine. But just riding on your news story a little bit, there was also news that Grand Theft Auto 5 was taking a little jaunt down that kind of road.
Right.
With Grand Theft Auto Online Tiny Racers. Have you heard of that?
Like Elton John's Tiny Dancers, we get Tiny Racers.
Tiny Racers. So this looks very much, it's not like what Forza's doing with Hot Wheels. This is a top-down view racing game. So it looks a little bit like they're having a little bit of a nod to the original GTA games with the top-down view.
Right, yes.
But I tell you something, it looks like Micro Machines.
Really?
It looks like Micro Machines. Like, it looks awesome. So another bit of fun racing if you own GTA 5 and go online. The actual game dropped yesterday, I believe, on the 25th of April. And it looks really cool. I haven't got GTA 5 anymore because I played it on 360. I mean, the fact that it's still going amazes me, because it feels like so long ago when I finished with GTA 5. But yeah, GTA Online Tiny Racers. Brilliant. And that looks really cool as well.
Yeah, that is just oh wow! I need to check that out.
Yeah, just have a look, man. It looks like a lot of fun. And I also believe I was talking about racing. I may as well just add it in. The guys that made the Burnout games, I think there's an offshoot of them, and they're making a game that's based on the crash mode from Burnout. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a game that's going to be released that's based on the crash aspect of that game, which should be quite fun, because that was one of the really fun aspects of, I think, Burnout 3. Do you remember it? You just caused the biggest crash you could at a crossroads.
Yes, yeah, that was just so cool. You could just watch that, couldn't you? You could just kind of watch. Oh, that was really cool.
And all the traffic just slammed in, didn't it?
Yes, indeed. Could you rewind as well?
I think you could. I don't know if you could on that, because the skill was all about. I think you had one shot. You could have another go within like 2 seconds, though. But you may have been able to rewind. But yeah, you just went down the. You drove down the road, didn't you? Blistering speed, crashed into a bus, and then just watched everything else just crash, and you got points for the more crashes you got. So it's called Danger Zone.
Wow.
A spiritual successor to Crash Mode from Burnout.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
That's due in May. Price £10.
So that is it for our regular news. It's now time that we head over to the VR news desk for all the latest in VR.
Yes, here we are, the VR desk once again. And what news have we got for you this week? Well, first of all, let's start with Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Oh, yes.
So we've talked about it a few times on here. Will it be good? Will it not be good? We could really do with it being good, because we want a great game. And it has had all the indications on the run-up to release of it actually being probably one of the most full, complete and fleshed out experiences available on VR. And I think that's also bolstered by the fact that it's multiplayer. But that's further bolstered by the fact that not only is it multiplayer, but Ubisoft have said from the get-go, maybe not from the get-go, but they've certainly said that it's going to support cross-play multiplayer from all the devices. So because I think it'd be the rare occasion when someone's got four, because you can play, it's 4 players altogether. The maximum you can have is 4 players on the bridge. I don't know many people that know 4 people that have got the same headset set up.
No.
You know, do you know 4 people with PSVRs?
No, only 3.
It's a one-off. That's not bad, though.
Yes.
I don't know anyone else with a Vive. I don't think. No, not really. Not in real life, anyway. So I think that's brilliant that they're supporting crossplay, and I also think it's commendable that the platform holders are going to allow this as well. I'm shocked with Sony. Well, surprised with Sony, because they've always been the ones to sort of not do anything, haven't they? Not allow it through. Absolutely. In fact, do you remember ages ago when Microsoft sort of said, "Oh, Sony, we're happy to. It's up to you."
Yes.
And there was a bit of a buzz, and the Sony just said nothing, and I forgot about that till just then.
Absolutely, that was Rocket League, wasn't it? You know, the kind of guy behind Rocket League said, "Yep, we can do this. We're just waiting for Sony." And Microsoft have already kind of put, Microsoft have built their bit of the channel tunnel. They're just waiting for Sony to kind of open up that last piece. So yeah, no, absolutely. But this is really good. I wonder if this is more on the makers of Star Trek rather than the platforms.
Maybe, I don't know, but it's really good anyway for all concerned if you've got a VR setup and you're interested in this game. And should you be interested in this game is probably the question. Now, the release date is the 30th of May, and there's been some preview playthroughs. Ubisoft have invited certain people to go along and play it, one of them being YouTuber Angry Joe. And he's had a preview go of Star Trek Bridge Crew. He's not, I wouldn't say he's like a mega into VR. He just likes games. He's one of them guys. He's not sort of a VR fanboy or anything like that. But he's done a video of the preview that he's got with him and his mate playing this, and I watched the video because I'm interested in the game, and I was hoping that it would be good. But I was expecting him to sort of, and his name's Angry Joe. I was expecting him to go mad, to say it was rubbish. In fairness, he said at the end of it, you could see the excitement in his face as he gave his sort of summation of his time in the game. And he said that, my goodness, this is almost a system seller.
Wow.
He said it was that good. He spoke to his mate. His mate said, he's called Other Joe, because I think his name's Joe. His mate, Other Joe, said, I don't know anything about Star Trek. Never been a Star Trek fan. but I had so much fun in this game. He said, I absolutely loved it. Angry Joe said, my goodness me, I'm a Star Trek fan. He said, this for me was amazing. He said, but even if, like other Joe says, even if you've never played Star Trek, it's so much fun. And he said, the only reason I say almost a system seller is because of the price. He said, but if the setup was the price of a normal console, he said, without doubt, well, he did actually, I'm paraphrasing here, he didn't say that. He said, basically, if it wasn't for the price, it'd be system seller. He said it's that good. He said it's just the best VR experience he's had. And I watched that and I was like, wow, could this be the game?
Holy moly, I can't wait to play this.
I watched this video and I'll put it in the show notes. Mm-hmm. It's from and I'll just probably pop it in there from the R5, the subreddit, because it's got a few comments on there as well about it. But you can watch the video nice and easy from there and just go straight to YouTube if you want to watch it as well. But watching them play the game, you've got you've got the captain that's a human, and you've got the two Joes. One's on helm, which is navigating the Enterprise, and the other guy, I think he's on like energizing, which is using the transporter and guns and stuff. I think that's engineering, maybe. And it just looks like a ton of fun. You've got the commander's giving, or the captain is giving his orders, and you've got other Joe trying to steer the Enterprise, and he crashes it into a space station straight away. And you're watching them, and as they turn, you're seeing the characters turn. The mapping in it is really good. You can see them wagging their fingers at each other as they sort of tell each other off for bad manoeuvres or stuff, or just having a bit of banter as they're flying along. And the captain sat there, sort of leaning forward a little bit and trying to keep them in check. And it really, they say it seems like a lot of fun. You can feel it when you're watching the video. It looks amazing. I don't know what it'd be like in single player. In single player, apparently, you could be the captain and then you can issue commands to the other 3 stations. Or you can jump into the stations if you want and do it yourself. So hopefully fun, but probably not as fun as having a few other players. And you can have 1, 2, 3 or 4, I think, in there.
So cool.
If you're interested, honestly, just watch the video, or just watch a little bit of the video, and you can just feel the fun. The video exudes it. It really gives you a glimpse into how fun it is, and it looks so great. And they've also added the original Enterprise in there as well. There's a little bit later on in the video, and instead of being on, I think I'm not that great on my Star Trek, but I think the initial one that we see is the one from the Next Generation series, and then later on they do the original sort of 60s one. And it's all got the buttons that look like lollipops, and it just honestly it looks really good.
So you actually get to control NCC 1701D,
whatever that is.
That's the Enterprise.
Is it?
That's the good Enterprise.
which does that mean? Which is that?
That was the D.
One?
So that was the A, B, C, D. That was the 4th iteration of it. So, because it kept getting blown up, didn't it? Kirk kept blowing it up, So, I think we lost it. We lost it in the latest one. That was the first one that went, and then we had the D was the next gen.
Oh, okay, the next gen one. But yeah, it just I've been worrying about this, thinking I'd really love it to be good. Like you want most games to be good, but this looks like it's going to be pretty cool. So. Watch this space.
That's just so cool. I can't wait to play that. Like I say, I've got that kind of Boomerang, because Boomerang do PSVR. I have that kind of bagged in my Boomerang list.
I've got this sort of idyllic vision of me, you and James on the bridge.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. And another person, if anyone else has got a PSVR or a Vive or an Oculus and wants to join us. On May the 30th. May the 30th, Captain's Log.
I'll be
3
there.
Sparks.
I'll be there.
Undergo a mission.
Because did I tell you about the my old Star Trek mug that I found in storage, which is like it's shaped like Jean-Luc Picard's mug from Next Gen, and that's kind of because that got me into drinking Earl Grey. I was such an idiot when I was young. That got me drinking Earl Grey, so I bought this Star Trek mug.
That's my tea of choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I only have it Earl Grey hot. I don't even have milk in it because Jean-Luc Picard didn't, because he's rock and roll.
Hardcore, man.
So I have this mug, and I found it the other day in storage, and it's perfect. It's intact. It's not chipped. It's nothing. It's wonderful, and it's got the Enterprise. It's got like the kind of Federation kind of logo on it. So I will will be making that on the 30th when this arrives.
Make it so.
Make it so, number one.
I'm looking forward to... I mean, I won't see that in VR, but I'll picture you drinking from your Star Trek cup while we go to galaxies, whatever it is says, far, far away.
Yes, space of Final Frontier.
Boldly go. We'll boldly go when no one has gone before.
I'll make sure I'm wearing a blue top.
Oh, demon, yeah. You see, it doesn't matter if he's not in the same room so much, does it?
No. I think it'll be fun in the same room, but trying to set up like kind of 4 Vives or 4 PSVR is going to be pretty crazy.
In the same room, though, we just need that other one that... what's it called? Not Atrium? No. Anyway, there's other Starship bridge simulators.
Right.
And then we all don the tops, and we don't need VR because we're all in the same room then. We just have the big TV at the front and then people on laptops at the sides. That'd be amazing as well. But this way, it can bring us together without the journey. So we'll see how it goes. Roll on May the 30th. Okay, and the next piece of news we've got, it's a bit of sad news. Delay for Resident Evil 7, Not a Hero DLC, which is a pity. Capcom actually released a video message to confirm the delay. Which is a little bit unusual. I don't think they said so. Here's a trailer, which is the usual thing, isn't it? So, producer Masachika Kawata has gone on the video saying what has happened, and he said we were working very hard to get the DLC ready in time for the spring release, and we got close to completing the game content. However, in light of the incredible reception to the release of Resi 7, we concluded that the DLC was not good enough to meet those high expectations. Yeah, our aim is for this content to match the high quality of the main game, so we need more development time in order to achieve that goal.
Wow, that's really good.
Pretty honest.
It really is, isn't it? It's like when we thought you lot thought it was going to be terrible, we were just going to put out any old tut. But now you really like it, we're going to make sure the DLC's a match.
Oh, it's like, yeah, exactly. It's like when we thought we could get away with it, we were going to make it second rate.
Yes.
But now, because we're more under the microscope, we actually realise we're going to make it good.
Thank you very much. See you in a couple of months.
Ka-ching, yeah. But that's good, they're going to make it good. I think that game must be so amazing. As you've said, I'm just too scared to play it. I'm looking forward to it being released on my end, if it will get released on my side. I think it will. But as I told you before, I probably won't have the courage to play it anyway. He said that they're working on a further piece of DLC as well, but they didn't give any more detail about that. So there's something else going to come out for it as well.
Right.
So that's interesting. It's good, isn't it? Good value if you bought the game. Well, as long as the price of the DLC is competitive. But quite refreshing that they've just come on and said, yeah, this is why, this is what we're doing, and I think that's quite nice.
Yes, it'd be really interesting because I know the other DLC that came out wasn't VR compatible. I think there was one which was a birthday. It was like Frank's birthday, who's like one of the main kind of villains, and that wasn't VR. So maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're kind of delaying the DLC so they can mix in the VR stuff.
Yeah, maybe. And if they are, good, because that's kind of it would be expected, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Absolutely,
so a bit of a delay, but I'm sure. The best things come to those who wait, says the Shenmue 3 backer. Right, so the next piece of news is, this is really interesting, okay. So this is when haptic vests can be for more than just gaming immersion. So there's this company, they're called Neo Sensory, and they've made a haptic vest prototype. But it's for more than just feeling bullets, punches, explosions, etc. in games or in VR games. What the end game result of this haptic vest is that they're claiming that this can translate audio that it hears. So people speaking, it translates that input around the vest. The vest's got 32 vibrating motors all over it. That you can feel. And what the vest does, it translates people speaking into vibrations of the vest. Okay? What can happen with that then is that deaf people can learn to hear via the vest.
Right. Oh, wow.
So it turns your body into an ear, in a way. It works in the same kind of way you can imagine blind people reading Braille.
Right.
And what's the guy's name? David Eagleman. Okay. He says that basically the brain is really good at working out patterns, and so in their tests, you don't actually work it. It's so complex, the translation of the sound to the vibration, that you couldn't actually work it out with by sitting and studying it. But there's something about the way that our brain interprets data, that when it gets a pattern, or it sees patterns in things, so you sort of unconsciously learn it by just wearing the vest. He said that it's more difficult in the tests they've done for people that can hear to learn it, but they've tested it on they tested it on people who are deaf, and they've had great results. And it showed a video. The video was from a TED talk admittedly a little while ago, 2015. But he got a guy on, and he said this guy was born profoundly deaf. Okay, and they got him to train with the vest, and then they tested him in front of a whiteboard, saying words to him, and then he had to write on the whiteboard.
Wow.
And every word they said, and the vest lights up when they speak, so you can see what's vibrating. So they'd say things like where, touch, whatever, words. And this guy then wrote that exact word on the board. So he'd learned to understand the vibrations of the vest as language.
Wow, that's incredible.
Which I think is flipping amazing. And they're saying that it doesn't have to stop with just helping people with disabilities to like deaf people to understand, to be able to hear in a way. They're saying that they're doing tests where you could start to recognise other pieces of data, but not through your eyes and ears, through things like a vest. And they did a test where they had another guy with the vest on, and he had a tablet in his hand, and it showed like two colours, say green and red, or it'd say green. No, that's right, green and red on the tablet, and he'd pick one of them, and depending on what he picked, he'd get a good response or a bad response. And it showed that the guy, by doing this, learned how to do the good response, sort of unconsciously, because of the feeling that he was getting in the vest. And he said that what it was, that the data that they were sending him was stock market buying and sell choices.
Right.
And so he was learning to make good stock trading decisions from the feeling of the vest giving him that data. And then he sort of opened it up to saying that we could, using this vest and the way that our brain can interpret patterns, could actually at one point in the future give us extra senses.
Wow.
Which is like, starts to blow my mind a little bit. But so haptic vests are not just for gaming. So I went on the website and just had a little nosy round, and they said that they're interested in what people think of it, people to test it, people to get involved. So I sent off my email address and said, I'd really like to have a look, but I said, I'm not I'm not disabled, so I couldn't help in that aspect. But I could certainly give feedback about any other tests you wanted to do. I don't think they're in this state, so I don't think they'll get back to me. But I just found it very interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's just.
So is that TED? Did you say that was from a TED talk?
A TED talk from 2015, and on the I'll put the link in the show notes. You should watch it because he explains that as he starts off talking. He sort of says it's interesting because how I'm not a scientist and stuff, but some animals like bats will use sonar, for instance, to see, and to a bat, that's what they see. So the bat, for instance, probably doesn't question that there's anything else that what we can see. He doesn't probably even think it. Well, bear with me here. So the bat wouldn't think that there's anything else outside of what he knows or she knows. Or it knows. It just thinks that the way that it sees and feels through its sonar is it. And there's other ones, there's like eels or wherever that use electricity pulses to navigate or for them to see. And that's the way they see. So he starts off like that, and then he says, So there's all this other sensory stuff around us that we can use, that we don't necessarily use at the moment, that maybe we could harness if we learn to. And it's kind of just like, whoa, it's really interesting. It's only about, how long is it? He talks for 20 minutes.
Right.
It's really cool. So I'll pop that link in the show notes.
Awesome.
So that's haptic vests enabling you, turning your vest into an ear using haptics. Really good. Allowing deaf people to hear what people are saying through haptics and vibration. Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it can be used for VR as well. Just to tie it in a little bit back. And the next thing is a bit more Facebook information. We talked about Facebook at the F8 conference last week, and there's just a couple more things that I thought were worth talking about. So one of them was Michael Abrash. He's the chief scientist at Oculus, and he delivered a presentation as well. Now, he was talking about the future of AR, and this was a deeper look than what we mentioned last week. He said that he believes that AR glasses are on the way, and when they arrive, they'll be one of the great transformational technologies of the next 50 years. He said that the new wave of virtual computing, which he says is like a combination of VR and AR, he thinks it's going to surpass the impact that personal computing had on the world. He says, imagine a world from 20, 30 years from now where he reckons we'll all be wearing stylish glasses all day, a bit like you carry your phone around with you, which will offer both VR and AR and everything in between. And he says that the real and the virtual worlds will be seamlessly mixed, and this will be a normal thing in our daily lives. He said it might not. He said maybe 5 years, it might be 10 years, it might be longer. He said, but he says it's definitely going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, but he did say that at the moment the technology is just not there yet for it. What did he say? He said we need major advancements to get to this future that he's talking about in optics and displays, audio, interaction, computer vision, AI, system design, UX, material. I mean, am I boring you? He's still awake, listeners. Material science, perceptual science, and graphics.
So we've still got a way to go then.
A little bit. I mean, he said 5. You know, it could be 5 years. I think it might be a little bit longer than that. But then again, you know, we've got wireless 5. He's also said that there was a very high importance of an interaction revolution, and that the ultimate solution would be a direct brain interface.
Right.
And I think that's because to make AR stroke VR, whatever it is, some kind of like wearing these glasses, you need a way of being able to instruct the technology without a keyboard. You don't want to be faffing about with a keyboard. I mean, you could have a tethered phone, I suppose, but I think the vision is that this would be done by thought. Believe it or not.
Right. Yeah, but there's difference in what I think about when I'm replying to someone's email.
That's
and
very
actually
scary.
what I type, in my head is, you're an idiot. And the other, yeah, that's a really good idea, but maybe we should go a different way. So I need to have a filter.
That is a very good point, and I never thought of that. He also said that the glasses could enhance your hearing and vision seamlessly, make you smarter and more capable.
I'm sold.
And they're also going to be light, comfortable, stylish, power efficient, and socially acceptable enough to be a constant part of your life.
Awesome. Anything that makes me smarter.
I'd love it. I wear contact lenses. I'd love these glasses. I'd get my prescription put in as well.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. An always-on helper, continually aware of your surroundings, your context and your history, constantly mixing the real and the virtual worlds to serve your needs and keep you connected. But you're right about that filter. I hadn't thought about that. Because, when you type out an email and delete it and do it again.
Yeah, you type out the rage email and then you go, okay, I've got that out of my system. Now let's type the proper one.
That is so interesting. And the next thing, because he mentioned this direct brain interface, right? So another person that came on and did a presentation was Regina Duggan, and she's the Vice President of Engineering at Facebook's Skunk Works, and she's the former head of DARPA. So she's worked on like military technologies as well. And now she's working at Facebook, okay. Now, what she's talking about, she talks more about this direct brain interface and how it would work. Brain-computer interfaces using optical light.
Wow.
And what she was saying is that in the future, that they're researching it now because the systems that are in use today don't really work in the way that they want to anyway, but basically they don't operate in real time and they require surgery. So to implant electrodes, which really is obviously invasive, and I don't think people will be queuing up unless the benefits are massive, to have a massive operation on your head and have electrodes put into your head. So they've been looking into looking at non-invasive sensors based on optical imaging, which can sample data at the speed that you'd need. She said it was a tall order, but technically feasible. And she said it could be done, get ready for this bit of technical, scientific talk, it could be done by bombarding the brain with quasi-ballistic photons, okay? These are light particles that can apparently give more accurate readings of the brain than contemporary methods. And supposedly, these non-invasive optical imaging systems can target the light and it'll go through your hair, your skull, and everything else, and then read the brain for activity, and then report it back to the AR glasses.
Wow. Wow.
And Facebook has apparently determined that this kind of process, this optical imaging, is the best place to start at giving you this big picture where you can control an OS without using your voice or your hands.
Wow. So they're all in. Facebook are all in on these future technologies.
It looks like it. I mean, this kind of technology, I think, initially was being researched for people where they've got severe disabilities. You know, there's like conditions where you can't speak or move your hands, but your mind's okay.
Mm-hmm.
A locked-in syndrome is one of the maladies like that.
Mind blowing. That is just absolutely superb. You know, imagine the technology advance, and this is it's good to see because, you know, if you think about kind of in our lifetime where we've kind of got to now with technology, considering kind of what we had when we were younger, you know, the leaps, we kind of did a lot of leaps, and we discovered lots of things, but it's almost like we did all of, you know, in comparison, we did all the easy stuff, you know, and now you know, like Sam's generation has a tall order, but they don't have to make up operating systems anymore, or do, you know, all of that's kind of available to them. So a lot of the struggles that, you know, when you look at how NASA started and the computers that they have for that, you know, the Turing you know, all of that, when you look at all of that, there was so much that had to be done in order to just get a calculation. But
there was a lot of rigmarole to get to being able to do the thing you wanted to do.
Indeed. Yeah. And now they don't have to do that. So you can it's almost like you don't have to worry about all of that. So you can just focus on the actual creative side. You can actually focus on that issue. And I think, you know,
which will enable even more. That will enable people to be even better, won't it?
Exactly. It's like, I want to write a book, but first of all, I've got to make paper first. You know, it's just like you spend all your effort making the paper, so you can't be bothered to actually write your book. But now that's there, so you can just get on to the task that you have in hand. And then we're getting things like the last couple of things we've been talking about there. We're getting inventions and ways forward that are just mind-blowing.
Yeah, where with a pair of AR specs, that apparently, I mean, it sounds like magic, doesn't it? Like most science does before it's released or you understand it. But you could write that book with no paper, and instead of having the bother of actually formulating it into words with your hand, it would just get jotted down from you thinking about it at any time of day, in bed at night. Wow. You know, you're just like, this is a good poem I've just thought of, and it's just noted.
I would love that. You know what, I was just thinking, when you said it, I was just thinking that I would love to capture my thoughts at night, because sometimes I have some awesome dreams, and
you could record your dreams.
Exactly.
And play them back in AR for your mates. Whoa,
that'd be so cool. You know, I wake up some mornings and like Nick has had some kind of terror dream, and I wake up and go, it was really cool, right? I was with Prince and we were playing, you know, and it's all that sort of stuff, and she's like, I hate you and your happy dreams. You know, so I'd love to just have them kind of, even if it just converted them to text, that would just be awesome.
Wow, it would be amazing. And as as magical and as far-fetched as it sounds like there's evidence that this could work and there's going to be money invested in it. It's also quite interesting that this is a big Facebook conference, and obviously we know that Facebook bought Oculus, and these guys we've been talking about are working for Oculus. Interesting that the theme seems to be AR over VR. It's as if maybe they've made a decision, and I think they sort of alluded to it a little bit, where being enclosed in the VR headset is not as, what's the word, enabling as the AR. That you can't be in VR all day.
Mm-hmm.
But with the AR, that's a system, and we've seen this in films since we've been a kid, where the robots scan, like Terminator, and he's getting that information overlaid over his vision, isn't he? And we've seen it in so many films and things. And that's the future that you're getting at, and because it's up to Facebook, I just meet you I'll see you in it, say Anthony Chesson, loves Prince, he's a gamer, he's a co-host, Gamers a little past. All this information would be going past. Or hopefully you could choose to turn it off if you want. Hopefully, of course you will be able to. I hope. And yeah, it's a future that, as magical as it sounds, could be science fact rather than fiction. And like you say, in our lifetimes, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely superb. Wow, incredible.
That's it. I'm done.
You're done. Yeah, I like it when you leave us on a mind-blowing last item.
That's the challenge these days. You've laid down the gauntlet, and I do try. Sometimes I fail.
And then this week you've banked it for the next couple of weeks.
This week it almost feels like I made it up.
Yeah, exactly. You were just like, this was in your dream that somehow you woke up and made your papyrus and wrote it. Anyway, that's about it for this episode. As always, a huge thank you for listening. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. There's going to be lots of links to stuff we've been talking about this week on there. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. You can find us on YouTube and the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community and Xbox One Club. Daz, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me as Wythermator on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch. Daz a Gamer on YouTube and at Daz Whittam on Twitter.
Excellent stuff. And for me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Also, if you're feeling generous, you can leave us a review on iTunes, or you can subscribe as well. So that's about it. Right, more Edith Finch, I think, for me.
Ah, yeah. Excellent. What am I going to play? Bit more Persona.
Excellent. Time to dress up again. Catch you later, guys. Bye.
See ya.